Attraction in the New Thought World. Actually, not in the thought world, not the New Thought World. It's a fantastic book. For those of you who don't know who William Walker Atkinson is, he went under a number of different pen names in the early 1900s. He's essentially like the teacher to all these spiritual teachers that came later. And in that book, he has a number of affirmations that I highly recommend you use. One of them being, I'm asserting the mastery of my real self. And that's one. I'm asserting the mastery of my real self. I'm using my willpower. Well, let me answer your question, and I'll get off. I'll talk about William Walker Atkinson. Do I know any fictional law of attraction films / stories? I can give you a great law of attraction story right now. I don't know of many films. There's like What the Bleep and The Secret are the main two that I know in terms of films, but I'll give you a good story. So I was living in Michigan at the time, and my cousin's friend calls me, and she goes, "Hi, Tony. I'm so-and-so's cousin. I heard that you were the guy to speak to if you want to get into a relationship." And mind you, I didn't know this woman. I didn't know that I was the guy to speak to help with relationships. So I told her, sure, what do you want to manifest? Like, what type of relationship are you looking for? And so I have her get out a pen and paper. Mind you, she at the time was at work, and she worked at a gas station in the hood of Detroit. Like one of those gas stations you go in, there's a glass wall between you and the cashier. So I have her write down exactly what she's looking for in a man, like what he looks like, what type of relationship she wanted to meet him now, all of his qualities. Then I have her close her eyes, and I have her spend a minute or two just getting into the feeling tone of what it's like to be with him. Imagine she's with him right now. And I say a minute or two because it takes on average 34 seconds for an idea to go from your conscious mind into your subconscious. Your subconscious is infinitely powerful, infinitely intelligent, and all wise. And so you want to impress it with ideas of what it is you want. And also, too, you want to hold the ideas of what it is you want for at least 30 seconds so that your brain cells start vibrating strong enough to put out a strong enough vibration to reach who it is that's going to bring to you what it is you want. So we do this exercise. By the way the law of attraction works is within your brain cells, there's electrons. When you think thoughts, those brain cells start vibrating, and those electrons go and land on people who are in resonance with it, and they bring to you what it is you want. So back to the story. So we do this exercise. She lists what it is who she wants to be with. We get into the feeling tone of it. Then I tell her, like, hey, just, expect this guy to show up. Let me know how it goes. We hang up. About 10 minutes later or 15 minutes later, this guy pulls into her gas station. He's lost. His phone is dead. He needs directions because, he's in the hood of Detroit. It's super dangerous. And it was a guy that she had met in a totally different part of the city. And she had really liked him, and nothing came of it. And he ended up asking her out, and they're now married. So that's a good law of attraction story. So the universe has infinite ways to bring to you what it is you want. It's just your job to decide what it is you want, get into the feeling tone of it, and then positively expect it. It's a simple 3-step process, and you can create virtually anything. And the universe is, how do I say this? Like, it's infinitely powerful. Like, it knows in advance. For it to be infinitely intelligent, it has to know in advance what it is you want. So it'll create all these things to bring it to you. So if she had tried to plan out how she wanted to meet her guy, she probably would have planned something way different. But the universe was like, hey, you're in the feeling tone. Boom, here he is right now. She had nothing blocking it. So that was a good law of attraction story. Another one, I was thinking about this earlier. I have a friend who won the lotto. He won $2 million on a scratch off. And all he did was, he's Christian, and he believes that, God's infinite abundance and God is going to bless him. So every day, he got a scratcher, scratched it, and he was telling himself, God's going to bless me. Today's the day. Today's the day God's going to bless me. Scratches the scratcher, nothing happens. That's the first day. Second day, he's telling himself, God's going to bless me. Today's the day. God's going to bless me. Today's the day. Scratches it, nothing happens. Third day, he wakes up, and he's like, this time, he's like, I felt it. Like, I knew, like, oh my, like, I'm going to win today. And he said, God's going to bless me. He's like, I get all excited to go to work. He worked as a cashier at a convenience store. Grabs the scratcher, scratches it, wins $2 million, and boom, he quits his job. And now he's out in Texas doing great and living a good life. So, it's super simple. We just make it complicated. Because we think something like, let's say I want a red Ferrari. And I'd be like, man, that'd be so cool. So I put it out of vibration and intention, but then I counteract it by saying, yeah, but I've never had a red Ferrari. A red Ferrari cost, $250,000. I'm making X amount. So I put out a vibration and then I just canceled it with my other thoughts. So the trick is to put forth what it is you want and then just not mess it up by thinking about other things, not giving it counter vibrations to interfere with the good that you put forth earlier. So very good question. By the way, I watched The Secret, and then the black guy with the dreadlocks, if you haven't seen it, Michael Beckwith, I ended up becoming a licensed practitioner at a spiritual center. So it had a real good effect on me. Gold, thank you. I appreciate that. And then if there's any specific areas you want me to help you apply this in, just let me know. Lord, I ask in the name of Jesus to let Tony have a blessed morning tomorrow. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I accept this wholeheartedly. And I thank you for that. It's good to be prayed for. I appreciate that. Usually people call me for stuff. And so I'm going to follow you. That was really cool of you. So thank you. All right. Now we're friends. That was nice. So, Jesus himself, he spoke about faith all the time. If you have faith the size of a mustard seed, for those of you who don't know, if you've never ever seen a mustard seed, it's the smallest seed. It's like this big. All you need is just that much faith. And he said you can move mountains. So you don't have to know how everything's going to work out. All you have to do is just have a little bit of faith. What is fear? Fear is faith in the negative. Instead, have faith in the positive. Tell yourself things are going to work out for me. Things are going to go good. For you believe in Jesus. It's the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. So assume things are going to go well on your, things are going to work on your behalf. And you just need a little bit. And that little bit could be the entryway to everything you want. And as your faith grows, so will your blessings, so to speak. I talk about spiritual alchemy in some of my videos. It's the same process. It's actually the same thing. Alchemists back in the day, this was the theory. To turn lead into gold, they needed a little piece of lead. And they would take that piece, they needed a little piece of gold. And they would take that gold, the vibration of the gold, and use that gold to transmute the rest of the lead into gold. So in like fashion, all you need to do is just focus on the areas of your life that are working. Or you can think of a time in your life that something went well. Like if you want to attract money, think of a time that you came up with some money. Spend a minute or two being in that feeling tone, and that little vibration, that little energy will start to transmute things in your life, and things will start to shift. You can make it, things can be done really easily. We just complicate them. Lord, I also ask to let everyone in this love to awaken from their sleep tomorrow morning. In this love. I think you mean, yeah, I understand what you mean. Yeah. In this life to awaken from the sleep tomorrow morning. Amen. Yes, I hope everybody's blessed and has a great night's sleep. By the way, a good trick for all of you who are up late and are going to be sleeping soon. Tonight when you go to sleep, program your subconscious with what it is you want. Tell yourself, subconscious, while I sleep tonight, I want to undergo tremendous healing. I want you to improve my finances. I want you to improve my life. I want you to make my life better than it's ever been before. Get to work on this now. And while I sleep, I want peaceful, healthy, amazing dreams. Whatever it is that you've been wanting to see in your life. And for the next 8 to 10 hours as you sleep, your subconscious will start to process this command that you've given it, and it'll start to create it in your life. Neville Goddard, I got this exercise from him. He's the famous Christian mystic. He said people think the 2/3 of their life that they're awake dictates the quality of the 1/3 that they're asleep. But he said in reality, it's the opposite. Feed your subconscious with what it is that you want before going to sleep, and it'll transform your life while you're awake. He called it like a secret to success or a secret to life. He also said never go to sleep in a negative state. He said visualize the end result of what it is you want. For instance, if you want a new home, see yourself sleeping in that new home and go to sleep in that feeling tone, and let your subconscious, which doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's false, go to work and create that in your life. So very good stuff. Then I'm just seeing if there's any questions or anything else. Let me see. What else would I recommend for you all? And then when you get up in the morning, before you jump out of bed and check your phone and do all that stuff, spend a few minutes in gratitude. Pre-pave your day. Start thinking of, just start with what's in your immediate surroundings. Like, hey, I'm healthy. I'm awake. I had a good night's rest. Start with gratitude. Spend a few minutes thinking about what's good in your life and let that energy go forth, so that good will lead to something else that's good, that leads to something else that's good, and so on and so forth. So your entire day will be smooth. And then and then after that I would meditate, and then I have a whole morning ritual routine that I do. I can tell you guys if you want, since we're hanging out, what it is. And basically, if you just type in Tony Robbins morning ritual, I do his morning ritual where he has you do some breath work. Then you focus on what you're grateful for. You send healing energy to yourself, and then you visualize what it is you want, and then you start your day. It's 15 minutes, and it's a good way to start the day, as opposed to, my alarm going off and then me just, running around in a rush. So let me see. Do you have any questions, or are you guys enjoying this? Let me know, so I know if I should alter what I'm talking about, or if this is fun for all of you. And let me see. By the way, Shira, are you still studying Esther stuff? Your excitement is exciting. I listen to Abe daily, but you're inspiring me. Oh, awesome. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. All right. I love Abraham. Abraham is Esther Hicks. Oh, okay, awesome. Okay, then I'll keep talking, because I just need a little bit of feedback so I can make sure we're on the right track. I love Abraham. I love Esther Hicks. I've listened to Esther tracks that were on audio. That were on cassettes years back, and her message has been the same for however long that she's been doing this. I think the woman is absolutely fantastic, and I've seen her live a number of times, and she just brings this love and this good energy. And if you listen to her, she'll keep you on the right track, and she makes it simple. She said at the end of the day, there's basically two main premises that she has. The first one I just recently did a video on. She said, do you want to be right? Excuse me, I'll do that one second. The first main premise is, a belief is just a thought that you've thought over and over again. A belief is just a thought that you keep thinking. She said, if you only understand one premise, it's this. A belief is just a thought that you keep thinking. Now, what's getting in the way of your manifestations? A belief. What is a belief? It's a thought that you keep thinking. So what do you need to do? Just start thinking a thought that's contrary to your current beliefs, your current reality. And I'll give you an example of this. When I had first moved to San Diego, I needed to come up with some money right away. So I know it takes on average, even Esther has said this, it takes on average 33 and a third seconds, she said, for a new thought that you're thinking that's focused on to the exclusion of all other thoughts to become part of your belief system and part of your permanent belief system. This is if you just focused on one thought. So I just started walking around telling myself, I'm rich, I'm wealthy, I'm rich, I'm wealthy, I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm wealthy. I'm just walking around, just generating this idea that I'm rich, I'm wealthy, I'm rich, I'm wealthy, because I needed to come up with some money. And I needed to come up with some money fast. So I'm doing this for like an hour and a half. That's all I'm focusing on, just drumming it, beating it into my skull. Because if obviously I knew something was in my belief system that was contrary to that, otherwise I wouldn't have had that money issue. So as I'm walking around saying that, I get a call from a friend of mine who was also the owner of the gym that I was managing at the time. And he's like, hey, Tony, I got this girl that called me. Do you want to train her tonight? She, she'll pay good money. I'm just too busy to train her. And I wasn't training anybody at the time. I was just managing the gym. And I was like, no, I'm good. He's like, no, trust me, just do it. Whatever, you'll make some money. So I said yeah to her. I called her and she's like, hey, is it okay if I bring a couple friends? And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Whatever. I just made up a number. This is what I'll charge. So I go to the gym that day. And as I walk in, when I walk in, this woman comes in with her son. She wanted him to try a class out. And I helped her son out. And she said, hey, by the way, do you personal train people? And I said, yeah, I do. This is what I charge. Mind you, I just made up my fees earlier in the day. And she's like, oh, great. So she paid for a month in advance. And then those three girls showed up. It turned out to be a group of them actually came. And they brought their friends. And that whole day I had a whole big personal training business that just grew out of nothing. But people will say, oh, that's just coincidence, people who aren't into this stuff. But it all starts with a thought. Everything starts with a thought. I didn't know how I was going to generate more money. I just started telling myself, I'm rich, I'm wealthy, I'm rich, I'm wealthy. And suddenly this, business that was really fun just, appeared out of thin air. So you just start with the idea, what it is you want, and let the universe work out the how. So what was I? How did I get on that topic, by the way? Oh yeah, we were talking about Abe. So I'm getting ready for the day. I live in Spain. Hello from America. I wish to visit Spain soon. So awesome. Welcome back. And by the way, if you don't follow me, please do, because this is the kind of stuff that I post frequently. I want to see you succeed. I want to see you win. I want to see you be your best. So I make videos like this pretty much every day because, I want to see you do well. I didn't have a lot of people that gave me a push, so I want to give everybody, a push to see them be their best. I'm sad. Why are you sad? Let me know, and I'll give you some recommendations on what to do to change your state, right now. I'm so happy you're live again. Your work is very much appreciated. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That makes me feel good. So I had gotten banned off TikTok because of some stuff that I talked about that I didn't realize that was against their terms of service that I thought would benefit people. And so I had for 2 months, I couldn't, when I would post a video, nothing would happen. And they wrote me recently that my account is unfrozen. And so I'm back because I haven't found a husband, life partner, and I'm 35. First, don't stress about that. So, before I get into that, I want to say again to 7 Elo 3 Ani, thank you again for your help. Thank you again for the kind words. Now, you're sad because you haven't found a life partner and you're 35. First, don't be sad about that. The average age that people have children now in Europe is 35. So you're right on track with everybody over there. That's one. Two, if you want to manifest somebody, it's super easy. This is the process to manifest a new career, a person, whatever it is that you want. Grab a pen and paper. First, don't worry about precedence. Just because your past doesn't equal your future. Just because you haven't met somebody up until now doesn't mean that you're not going to meet somebody. You can meet somebody like this. So I want you to grab a pen and paper and write out my ideal husband. So my ideal husband. And list his qualities. Is he tall? Is he good looking? Obviously I hope you put, he's both of those things. You're irresistibly attracted to each other. He's loyal. He's kind. He's loving. He's funny. He's uplifting. List his qualities. Really run wild with it. Imagine that you're making a wish list to God. That's one. So you're going to get specific. Get clear on what it is you want. Two, every day you're going to spend 2 minutes looking at your list, reading it, and then putting yourself into the feeling state as if you have him now. So you're putting out a vibration, and you have to attract somebody that matches up with it. So you're putting forth this energy, you're going to attract somebody that matches up with it. And then three, expect that he or she is coming and start preparing for this person. So if you knew that your husband was on the way, what would you be doing differently? Would you be exercising? Would you dress different? Would you make some space in your place? Whatever it is, start doing that now. Start getting ready for his arrival and watch, somebody's going to show up. It's that simple. So I would do that. Get clear on what it is you want. Don't worry about how long you have or how long it has or hasn't been since you've met somebody. Put forth the energy and somebody's going to show up. For instance, when I lived in Michigan, one night I said, I'm Chaldean. It's a small group of Catholic Iraqis. Oh, you're welcome. And one night I was up and I said, you know what? I want to manifest a new girlfriend. I want to manifest a new woman. Let me see. Yeah, perfect. So yeah, there's your proof of that, or works. So good. Awesome. And sometimes it works best. You put forth the energy and then don't worry about it. Since you weren't looking, there was nothing to contradict it. You weren't saying how come it's not showing up? Why isn't it not here? So you're just out feeling good. And since there's no resistance to it, the person showed up. So, hello. So meeting people, one day I did this exercise. I did it before I went to sleep. I said, I want a woman. I want her to be 5'3", blonde hair, green eyes. She's got to live real close to me. Great cook. Irresistibly attracted to each other. Chaldean. And so I go to sleep, and I used to work weird hours at the time. I used to work with my dad from 1 a.m. until 11 a.m. every morning in his produce business. So I go to sleep, and around let's say noon the next day, my property manager starts banging on my door boom, 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 boom. Tony, are you awake? Are you sleeping? Wake up, boom, boom, boom. I thought there was a fire. My dad woke up too, and we were both asleep because we worked the weird hours. So I opened the door, and it was my property manager who I'd only met once and met him briefly. I was like, hey, what's going on, man? And I'm half asleep. He's like, look, there's this girl by the pool that you got to meet. Put on some shorts. You got to go to the pool. And I'm like, dude, I just worked the whole night from 1 a.m. till freaking 11:30, and I just fell asleep. I was like, I'm not going to the pool to meet some girl. I'm going back to sleep. And he's like, Tony, and he like put his hand on the door like kind of hard. He's like, don't be a fool. There's this girl, go to the pool. There's this girl by the pool that you have to meet. And I was like, Neil, that's his name. God rest his soul. He ended up passing away. I said, look, I'm not going to go to the pool to meet some girl. Like, thanks, man. I appreciate you coming. And I went to close the door, and he put his fucking foot in the like in between the door and where it closes. And like, I put half his body there. And I'm like, is this guy nuts? And so I opened the door. I was like, okay, man, like, chill out. I'll go. Like, my dad's like, what's going on? I said, I don't know. It's this whole thing. So I go to the pool. I put on some shorts. I go to the pool, and there she is, 5'3", blonde hair, green eyes, Chaldean. We start talking. We hit it off. Turns out she's my cousin's best friend, or one of his best friends. And all these years that me and him would hang out, when I would visit Michigan prior to that, I would zig and she would zag. But then once I got clear on what it is that I wanted, there she was. So it was just a matter of me getting specific. And then it was funny because when I called my cousin, I was like, man, I met this girl. She said she knows you. She's amazing. It was like, what do you mean? Like, you just met her? You didn't know her? And I was like, no, how come you never like said anything about her? He's like, bro, I thought you've known her this whole time. Like, like we've been friends for, like 10 plus years. So, and that was it. And then like off we were, and it was just really, in fact, it was such a loving relationship. Prior to that, I used to just, I used to run around. I was like a dog. I loved it. I loved being single. And I don't want to call it a dog. I loved being single. It was super fun for me, meeting new women and going out and living this, real crazy fun life. And prior to her, I had no intention of ever being married. And then I met her, and I was like, oh, like actually being with somebody like that on a much more intimate level is really fun too. So that's cool. You met your girlfriend in person. It's annoying trying to online date. Everything, how do I say this? Everything in your life is a reflection of your inner concepts. So if you believe that online dating sucks, it's going to suck for you. If you have this belief that online dating is super fun, remember, this applies to everything. So whatever you're seeing, the outer world is a reflection of the inner world. So if anything sucks for you externally, it's because you have a negative inner belief that needs to be changed. So just shift it. So tell yourself, online dating is the best for me. I meet the right people. It's super fast. It's super easy. One of my friends, she met her husband through online dating. So, and a number of people have met their spouse through Bumble. So there's people out there. All you need to do is just meet one. You don't need to meet infinite number of people. You just need to meet one. And if you put forth the right vibration, you can do it. So just shift your belief system. And I spoke about this earlier. I don't know if you were on the live. What is a belief? A belief is just a thought you keep thinking. It's just a thought you've thought over and over again. So tell yourself, online dating is super fun, or just dating it in and of itself. If you don't want to meet them through online dating, just make your list. My ideal person, and write that. You guys meet in person. It's totally organic. It's super fun, or you meet through friends. Whatever way works best for you, and watch it happen. One of my friends, she wanted to get married. She's like, Tony, I've been single for so long. I want to get married. I said, perfect. Let's make your list. So we sat down and made her list. She said she wants a guy. She said he's got to be super strong. She's like, I want a strong man. She kept emphasizing that. She's like, and I want to meet him in 3 months from now, because she had some stuff that was taking place in her life between now and the 3-month mark. And she's like, he's got to be 6'2", deeply religious. Excuse me. There is like a moth coming over here. So she's like, he's got to be 6'2", deeply at least 6 foot, deeply religious, live close to me, so on and so forth. And she kept emphasizing that. Dang it, I'm getting like attacked by this little moth. She's like, and she kept emphasizing that he's got to be strong. He's got to be strong. So we make her list. 3 months later, she meets this guy who lived right down the street from her. He's 6 foot something, and his last name is actually Strong. And so she's Mrs. Strong now. And, we joke about that time that we made that list. So it's up to you. You just need to get clear on what it is you want and let the universe take care of the how. Now, you said, you said it's hard to shift the beliefs we have, but it's something I have to do. So there's a few ways that you can shift beliefs. First is you can write out whatever the negative belief is. This is called the Dickens process, by the way. I got this from Tony Robbins. You write out what the negative belief is, and then you write out, what is it costing me? So what is it costing me to have this negative belief? Or what is all the pain I feel by having this negative belief? And spend 5 minutes just really writing it out. Run crazy with it. And what that's going to do is it's going to rewire your subconscious so that your subconscious is trying to keep you safe. It has a self-image of you that it's trying to always enforce, so to speak. It's keeping you mentally in homeostasis in this image that it has of you. So when you write out what is all the pain I feel by having this belief, your subconscious now thinks, okay, this belief is not good. It's not what I want. And then write out its positive opposite. So for instance, you said, it's hard to shift beliefs, right? It's easy to shift beliefs. And write out for 5 minutes, what is all the good that I feel by having this new belief? And write that out for 5 minutes. And your subconscious will no longer go to that old belief, but will instead move to this new one. That's one. Two, there's like the 3-6-9 method. The reason that works is, well, I'll say two, the second way is repetition. It's just like you're hammering a nail into a board, just through constant repetition, like how we learned our ABCs. You just say things over and over and over and over and over to yourself again. And that's the second way to get your beliefs in there. It's just like a song you hear over and over until you have it memorized. So, I'll talk about that. Thank you. So that's 1 and 2. Third is, they talk about this in the Silva method. The Silva method is a form of meditation. I recommended the book to everybody, The Silva Mind Control Method by Jose Silva. I was going to grab it, but it's a little bit too far away. The third is through relaxation. You take a few deep breaths. You count down from 20 to 1 or 30 to 1 or 10 to 1 in a slow rhythmic voice. 10, 9, 8, and so on until you get to 1. So you're totally relaxed. And then from that deeper level of mind, Jose Silva said an affirmation done at alpha is the state of consciousness that takes place when you're in deep meditation. He said it's hundreds of times more powerful than an affirmation done at beta, this awake state of consciousness. So you can do your affirmations at that deep level of consciousness. That's another way. And then lastly is just to do them with emotion. Like you could be awake and just look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself whatever it is you want. Like, I'm great. I'm the best. Like, men or women love me. Like, people admire me. Whatever it is that you want to see in your life, affirm it. And that's like slamming that nail with a hammer and it just goes straight in. So those are the different ways to shift your beliefs. And then I also do other things. Like I'll put up, I'll tell you 2 ways. I put up pictures and affirmations and stuff so that I subconsciously see them all the time. They say 87%, they being scientists, 87% of the information that comes to you comes by way of your sight. So I put up pictures of things that I want, of what I want to see more in my life. That's 1. And then 2, I do this to my friends. I wish I would have people do this to me. So Edgar Cayce, for those of you who don't know who he is, he was a famous psychic. He was super good. People would come to him. And, for instance, a guy came to him for oil, and Edgar would hypnotize himself via autosuggestion, and then his clerk would ask him a question such as, where is the oil that this guy should get? And Edgar would tell him, go to Texas, to this city, drive 100 miles west, dig 3 feet, and the oil will be there. So he was super specific. He wasn't just some guy saying, nonsense. So he wanted to test people's belief systems. And he did this in the negative. There was this guy that was, just like a healthy, normal guy that he knew. So he had the guy, when the guy went to work, he had the guy's manager tell him, hey, you don't look that good, or is everything okay? And the guy was like, no, I feel great. Like, what are you talking about? So then the guy, Edgar knew the guy, like he knew his daily routine. The guy would go to the bar after work, and he had the bartender tell him, like, hey, you don't look that good. Is everything okay? And he was like, I feel like all right. Somebody else said that, like, I don't know, should I be concerned? And so the guy's walking home, and the mailman comes up to him, and Edgar had him tell him this. He's like, hey, you don't look that good. Is everything okay? And the guy's like, oh, I feel like death. Like, I feel horrible. And, and then they told him, we did this to you. We were trying to see if, what effects suggestions would have on somebody who's unaware of it. A suggestion is an idea that somebody gives you. By the way, it's important to be aware of what ideas people give you, because if they're giving you ideas like that are negative, just say, no, I feel great. And you've never looked better. So you're giving yourself a positive idea, and you're reinforcing positivity for them and for you. So I heard about this, so I started doing this kind of stuff to my friends, unbeknownst to them. For example, my friend's brother was addicted to drugs. He was hardcore on drugs. He was a mess. So I'm over at my friend's house one day, and his mom comes to me. She's like, "Hey, I don't know what to do, about so and so. Things are getting really bad." So I said, "Look, we're gonna implant in his subconscious the idea of exercise." So she's like, "Wait, there's like no way. Like he's on drugs. He's all strung out." I said, "Just trust me. Just follow my lead." So he comes home, and he's totally emaciated. Like he walked in, he's super pale. You could see all the bones in his face. And he walked in, I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And I said, "Damn, man, you look real big. Like, what have you been doing? Like, working out?" And he's all strung out. He's like, "What are you talking about? Like, working out?" He's like, "I've never been skinnier." Like, what? And I'm like, "No, dude." I was like, you look bigger. You've been doing something." I kept like hitting him on his chest to reinforce the fact that I think he looks big. So then my friend's brother sees him. He's like, "Damn, dog, like, what's up? You look big. Like, what have you been doing? You been lifting?" And he's like, "No, like, what's wrong with you guys? Like, are you guys on drugs?" Like, so then his mom sees him. She's like, "Oh, there's my boy. You look so good. Like, did you gain weight? Like, what are you doing?" And now he's starting to believe it. He's like, "I don't know. Like, people have been telling me stuff. Like, you think I look different?" So it's starting to creep in. So then later on that night, his sister sees him. She's like, "Hey, you look like you've gained weight. Like, are you working out or something? Like, what are you doing?" And he's like, "No, that everyone keeps saying that. Like, do you think I should start working out?" So we do this to him for 2 full days. And on the 3rd day, he goes and signs up at a gym and starts exercising and shifts the direction of his life. So that's another way to get ideas into somebody's subconscious, is just to bombard them unbeknownst to them that you're doing it to them, and watch things shift for them. There's a great book. It's called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter, where he tells us, he made these self-talk tracks where it would say, "I like myself." It would be in the first, second, and third person. "I like myself. You like yourself. People like you." So it would say stuff like that, first, second, and third. Like, "I earn money. You earn money. People say that you earn money." So his wife was like, "These tracks are stupid. Like, this is nonsense, whatever." So he wanted to lose weight at the time. So he and his wife, they had a long, one of those double sinks. I don't know exactly what to call them, but they would get ready every morning. He would go and shave, and she would do her makeup, and he would play the weight loss track in the background. And it would say, like, I am thin. You are thin. People think you're thin. And he lost, like, he said he didn't change anything in terms of his workouts or diet. All he changed was, all he did was just listen to that track and shift his subconscious beliefs. Your subconscious controls your beliefs, your habits, and your bodily functions. And so by changing his internal system, his idea of who he was, by listening to that track, he said he lost like 25 or 30 pounds in 1 month just by listening to that track. But the interesting thing is, his wife lost, I believe, 10 to 15 pounds inadvertently just by being around him without believing in what was taking place and just hearing the positive messages again. So I hope that helps. Okay, I see a bunch of questions came in. "I like your affirmation technique. I think the universe wanted me to see you live. I literally was crying 20 minutes ago." Oh, okay, awesome. Well, I'm glad I could be of service. That makes me feel really good. I'm glad I'm here. "I like your affirmation technique. Love that mastering in real self." Yeah, what he's talking about is the affirmation, "I am asserting the mastery of my real self." It comes from William Walker Atkinson's excellent book, Thought Vibration, The Law of Attraction, and the New Thought World. Within each of us, there's the law of polarity. There's a high and a low. There's your lower self that's filled with fears and worries and anxieties. And there's your higher self, your real self that's, confident, that's sure of itself, that's full of faith, that knows how to win, that knows how to succeed. So tell yourself, "I'm asserting the mastery of my real self." Call that forth. Call forth your latent potential. Atkinson says that, he said, if you use this affirmation for one year, he said, in a year from now, you'll look back at your life and he said, you'll pity yourself for who you were. You won't even, you'll hardly recognize yourself because you'll have achieved so much. You'll be so different. So again, I am asserting the mastery of my real self. And thank you. And I'm glad I'm helping you. This is great. Thank you. "I need to talk to you all the time. You have the best vibes." Thanks. What it is, by the way, someone said, "Do I have a coaching class?" I coach people. And then I I have my book online, and then somebody asked Lex the Barbie. I am gonna skip that, even though. Okay, I'll see who that is later. Now people send me invites as I'm on this. So I have my book, and then I have my program, and then I also have, what else do I have? And then I do coaching with people as well. And so somebody had said something earlier. I have the best vibes. Thank you. What it is within each of us, within everybody on this live, like right where you are, what is God? God, if you believe in God, God is infinitely intelligent, all-powerful, all-knowing. So infinitely intelligent, all-powerful, all-knowing, everywhere present. So right where you are, the Spirit of God is. So I believe when I talk to you, that latent potential is there. It's just my job to bring it forth so that it could transform your life. So some people are expressing it, and some people it's still potential. So I want to get that forth so things transform for you. That's amazing. Yes. What's the book again? It's The Thought Vibration, the Law. So it's William Walker Atkinson. You can find it online for free. It's only 70 pages. Thought Vibration, the Law of Attraction, and the Thought World. So, and by the way, if you don't currently follow me, please do, because I post this kind of stuff all the time, and I post this stuff all the time, and I want to see your life transform. Am I rich? I am in the process of becoming there. I feel like I'm close. I've gotten close a few times, and I made a few decisions that if I hadn't made them, I'd be there. I'd be like rich. And so I'm in the process. It's funny because a lot of my friends are rich. My ex is a multimillionaire. Most of my friends all of my friends earn 6 figures. Some of them earn 7. Some of them are trying to earn 8. So, my friends are really successful. Share those decisions. I sold a business that was making me money to get into another one that I thought was going to make me more money. And instead, I should have kept that one and just, put in the right staff so that it would keep making me money, and then borrowed money to start that other business. And if it failed, it wouldn't have mattered because I would have still had that other one generating cash for me. And that other one would be worth like $3 million right now. So and all the money would have made me, I would have invested in real estate over the last like 10 years or so. So I would have had a pretty penny by now. So that was that decision. So it's interesting because it's like, man, well, actually I want to share something else. I'm glad you said that. Share that decision. I was living in LA and I was doing really well. And I moved back to San Diego thinking that things were going to go better. And instead they got way worse. And I had moved back in with my family. And I want to talk about this because sometimes you move forward in life and you shouldn't go back, because when the people who are around you early on before you became successful, they don't see you as successful. They see you as like this old person. For instance, I'm going to use Jesus as an example. Jesus did all these miracles, but the one place that he didn't do miracles is when he went and visited his hometown. He said a prophet is without honor, especially in his hometown, or especially within his own home. Someone can check the exact thing. Why? Because the people there, they didn't see him as, Jesus the Christ. They saw him as Yeshua ben Joseph, just, normal, everyday Jesus. Like, this kid that they grew up with. So they didn't have faith in him. And as a result, he couldn't do any works for them. And like fashion, the people that grew up around you, my friend Praise George talks about this all the time. The people who can have the most negative effect about you are those people who are closest to you, because they don't see that inner potential, that person you're becoming or that person you are now. They see, I'll show you in 1 second. They think of you as the old you, and those vibrations from them, they vibrate those thoughts to you, and it causes that old way of being to start to vibrate for you. And instead of evolving, you devolve. So one thing that I recommend is never going back. Move forward, have a strong vision and plan for your life that you're working towards, and don't go back to where you were. Keep going forward and creating more good for yourself. Excuse me. And the book again was Thought Vibration, the Law of Attraction, and the Thought World. So I would recommend getting this book, and I would also recommend getting the book, The Silva Mind Control Method by Jose Silva. It's a blue one. There's 2 books. There's The Silva Mind Control Method of Mental Dynamics, and not without honor except in his own home. And then there's The Silva Mind Control Method by Jose Silva. It's a blue book. I would recommend getting that so you learn how to access the deeper states of your consciousness so that you can implant ideas of a positive nature. You can relax yourself when you get really stressed out. When stress occurs, that means your brain is cycling, it's going into high beta. Beta is this awake state of consciousness, and your brain is essentially cycling too high, and you want to calm it down by going into alpha, which is where the two hemispheres of your brain are communicating the best. And that book will show you how, and it'll show you how to plant positive ideas in your subconscious, do remote healing work, recall things from your past, all kinds of stuff. How do you surround yourself with people that have the same energy that like yourself? There's a couple ways. One, first get clear on the type of people. What I did is I wrote out my ideal friends. And I wrote, like, they're positive, they're uplifting, they're winners, they're high income earners, they're producers, and I listed what it is that I wanted. And I would see myself I would close my eyes, and the same way I would attract anything else. And I would visualize myself hanging out with this cool group of people. And that's what I tend to meet. That's one. Two, to have good friends, be a good friend. I take an interest in people. When I meet people, I get interested in what they're about. I try to help them with whatever's going on with them. And hi, user Nami, good to see you. I take an interest in them. I don't like having peripheral friends, like people who I casually know. So I invite them to places. I say, like, hey, I'm going to like XYZ. Do you want to come with me? And usually what happens is they'll say yes. And if they don't want to come with me, like they have something else going on, they'll say, no, I can't that day, but do you want to come with me to whatever it is? And then we end up becoming friends. And then I usually meet people that have similar interests such as me. Like a lot of my friends, I do Muay Thai, that's kickboxing from Thailand. I do that, and I met a lot of my good friends from there. And then I met my other friends, through my spiritual work. Then I met a lot of guys through my coaching stuff. So that's how I tend to meet my friends. But the first thing is getting a clear idea of what it is you want, who you do want to spend your time with and who you don't, putting forth that energy, and then being a good friend. You want to be who it is that you want to spend time with. If you say, like, I want friends that are loving and kind, but you're filled with hate and, jealousy, then you're not the right energy for what it is that you want. So, and then lastly, I spend time having different hobbies. And then the people I meet there, I invite to cool stuff, and they invite me back. Thank you. Sometimes I feel like no one really understands me, but I understand. I feel the same way, by the way. Nice. That's great that you take that. Oh, thank you. I feel that way sometimes too. Like nobody really gets me, but I seem to understand all these people because all these people come to me with stuff. But then I realize, like, I'm making too much of things, and there's people who do understand me and do want to help me. If I just reach out, they'll stop what they're doing to help me. And I have like a few good guy friends that when people come to me with their stuff, I always tell them this, like, this is a judgment-free zone. You can say whatever it is that you want. And I let them just like unpackage whatever it is that there's going on within them. And so since I do that with my friends, I have a few friends that it's judgment-free in the other way. I can just tell them whatever's going on with me, my fears, my worries, whatever it is, and we release that stuff. But isn't it good to have old friends around you that you loved that loved you when you didn't have anything? I don't know, because I'll give you an example. So I'll give you a couple examples. My first group of friends that I grew up with, first, some of my friends that I grew up with, like one of them is in prison, like that group I had to leave because I couldn't go to where I wanted to go. I forgot who said this, but they said you can never outgrow the gravitational pull of your friends. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, is what Jim Rohn said. So I had a certain group of friends. I wanted to go to college and go to a prestigious school, and my friends weren't about that life. They were getting into trouble, dealing drugs, doing crazy stuff all the time. And so I had to leave that peer group to go to where I wanted to go. And when I was heading in that direction, they would try to dissuade me. They'd say, oh, you think you're too good to hang out with us now? You don't want to spend time with us. And they kept telling me about how I suddenly think I was too good. And so they're trying to make me feel guilty so that I would stop doing what I was doing so that I would spend more time with them. So I had to release that group of old friends. Then I had another group of old friends that when they saw I became real successful, it was like killing them inside. Like the better I did, the worse off they would be as friends. And it was interesting because like my other friends now, like the more I win, the more they want me to win, and so on, and vice versa. Like they succeed, and I want them to be even more successful. And we pump each other up, and we connect each other with, like, if one of them says like I need help, like physically, I'll connect them with whoever I know that's like the best in that area. and so on and so forth. We all network and pull our resources to make each other more successful. But my other old group of friends, like, man, the farther I got, the more and more it seemed like it was upsetting them. And then lastly, there was something specific that happened. I went and tried Vipassana the first time. And for those of you who don't know what Vipassana is, it's a 10-day silent meditation where you sit silent for essentially 10 hours a day for 10 days. And it brings up a lot of, a lot of stuff from your past and a lot of your anger and a lot of, junk that needs to be cleaned out. And I didn't know what it was. I thought you just sit and meditate and relax and it's going to be this like awesome thing. And all this shit came up for me and I ended up freaking out and leaving. This is the first time I tried it. I ended up successfully completing it and, another 2 times after that. So I sat for 20 days in silence. But the first time I did it, I called one of my good friends after that. I said, or my former good friends. I said, man, I tried this thing. It didn't work. And he was like, yeah, I knew you couldn't do that. And so I was like, these motherfuckers, like, this is part of my language. I was like, this is how they really think about me, but they don't tell me. Like, they don't really believe in me. And then I told one of my family members, yeah, I left. And the first thing she said was, yeah, I knew you couldn't do it. And I was like, oh, now I see like what their real belief about me is. So they didn't see me as like Tony, successful Tony. They saw me as this real limited person. And then I ended up doing it in the future. And ironically, it was one of my new friends that I met at my spiritual center that I was a licensed practitioner at, who had told me, like, I said, man, I want to try this practice called Vipassana, but I'm hesitant to because all the stuff came up and I left last time. And he told me, it was my boy Jason Mitchell, who is a reverend now, who's an amazing, powerful man. He said, Tony, you're a different person now than you were then. He said, you've done a lot of inner work. You're strong enough to handle whatever comes up. Go and do it. And my second time was this real beautiful experience. And I'm glad it happened. I'm glad I did it and stuck with it. But it like showed me how my old friends were. My friends who have known me my whole life. Like, it was total bullshit. Like, I have my friends, there's like my circumstance friends and my friends via choice. My circumstance friends are the people I grew up with that I just knew from like, being out and about. And my circumstance friends like seem to just never be that thrilled about my good. Whereas my friends who I chose, like I made a conscious decision to be friends with this person, as an adult, all of them seem to like really want me to do well. So that I hope things are different for you all. I hope your old friends want you to win. But I've just seen this time and time again where people tell me like, oh, I have this friend that seems to not be that thrilled about my success. Do you have any TikTok YouTubes on your favorite books? Yeah, I just made a TikTok about my 2 favorite books. Let me know if that helps. Okay, a bunch of questions. So TikTok changed the format on how questions come up. So I have to like manually do it, and then suddenly all this stuff comes up. So if it takes me a moment to get to you, that's why. All right. So yeah, I have a number of books. I used to actually I used to recommend, like, do a book review every week. I read so many books, it's insane. So maybe I'll start that again. But if you go on my YouTube channel, I have a section called Book Recommendations. And there's some, like, I recommend everybody reads The Silver Mind Control Method. That would be my first one. I recommend everybody reads William Walker Atkinson's book, Thought Vibration, The Law of Attraction in the Thought World. I recommend everybody read The Master Key System by Charles Haanel. It's a fantastic book. It's 24 lessons done over 24 weeks. Charles Haanel is a superstar. The guy was worth about $250 million in the early 1900s. And one thing I liked about him is nowadays there's so many people who teach the law of attraction and they got rich by the law of attraction, which there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. They're applying it and making money. But he refused to teach until he had demonstrated success. So he was worth $250 million, and people kept pushing him. They said, hey, you need to teach this. And he still didn't think that he had demonstrated these principles enough to be worthy of teaching them. And it was by the urging of people who knew him that he actually came out and started teaching the law of attraction. So it's like, I like to call it kindergarten or beginner's metaphysics. It just like gently walks you through the A through Z of how to impress your mind with positive ideas, how to take control of your body, what to think, how to think properly. So it's a great book. I like The Conquest of Happiness by Bertrand Russell. I should really do a review on that tomorrow, because if you're depressed or feeling down, It's a good book to read. So The Conquest of Happiness by Bertrand Russell, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. The first half of the book is his story. The second half of the book is his philosophy on life. And the second half is really powerful. Here's a great question for all of you to answer. If you get only one thing out of this TikTok and it's this, it could have a profound impact on your life. So he said, ask yourself, he said, all of us have a purpose in life. Everybody wants to find their purpose. So he said, ask yourself, he said, what is the work that only I can do? So again, what is the work that only I can do? Everybody has some work. Oh, I got Praise George coming in here. Give me one.
Hey.
I got my boy PG. I was just talking about you earlier, my friend.
Yeah.
So
I like what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. About friends.
Yeah.
Let me just say something about,
by all means.
Yeah, you don't really know your friends until you become until you start how do I say it? Expressing your true self.
Mm-hmm.
Until you start expressing your true self. All those people you were talking about, the people you grew up with, the people you were in school with, and all those people, they never really knew the real you, because you had not really, how do I say it? You have not attained to that level of self-awareness. Mm-hmm. Yes, you've not attained to that level. So the moment you start becoming more aware, you start separating, they start going away from you, because now you start like, how do I say it? When light comes, darkness vanishes. So the light in you, the light inside of you, just started shifting the darkness away, the negativity away, and all those people. That's what happened.
I agree with you. I'm in the law of attraction, which is really the law of vibration. So as my authentic self, what's your authentic self? It's, powerful, yes. It's faithful, it's loving. So I'm putting forth this vibration now of love and peace, kindness, and they don't match up to it. And so they have to go. So, by the way, for those of you who don't know who this man is, this is Praise George. He's my boy. He's, there's like very few people who I study. I have his book right here, actually. It just arrived today. Let me show it to them so I could give you a good plug. It's Life on Your Own Terms. So I read his other book, Clarity. Sometimes you'll see me wearing, in my videos, a shirt that says, "You'll be fine." That's his catchphrase, so to speak. And you will be fine. And so he's somebody that I go to and turn to for wisdom, advice, and upliftment. So I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, so let me tell you, let me quickly say this. The more you study, the more you grow, the more you will repel certain people and you will attract certain people. It's the law of life.
Mm-hmm. I believe it's totally.
The law. Yeah, continue. It's a law.
Yeah, so he's right, because when you grow on a physical level, when you study material such as this book, you're actually creating brain cells of a positive type. You're literally changing your physiology, so you're becoming a better person. That's why I recommend to everybody, spend at least 15 minutes every day reading something of an inspirational nature, something positive, and you'll start shifting. Your personality will start changing, your physiology will start changing, your vibration that you're putting out into the universe will change, and things will begin to shift for you, both consciously by the thoughts you think and the actions you take, and subconsciously by the vibration you're putting it forth will start to transform things for you.
I think the challenge many people have, this is the challenge many people have. We try to hold on to the people who no longer belong on our level. You just try to hold on to those people and they're no longer on your level. So you're actually struggling and fighting to maintain a relationship, to sustain that relationship, but you've grown. You're far beyond that level. So, and let me tell you something, Tony, something I saw somewhere. They said that negative energy, if you're with if you have 5 friends, you have 5 friends and they're all negative, they're going to pull you down. They'll pull you down. They'll pull you, because the negative energy, it's just something else. So the best thing for you to do, if you find out all these 5 guys or friends are not growing, move away from them, because they will pull you down to their level. That's the fact of life. That's just the fact of life.
It's 100%. I read a study once where they showed that if you take somebody who's unproductive and place that person around people who are productive, that person doesn't become more productive. Instead, what happens is that person pulls down the productive people to his level. So the same thing is happening. People think like, oh, I'm just hanging out with my friend that I knew from back in the day. It's no big deal. It is a big deal. That person either at all times, either you're raising them up or they're bringing you down. There's not going to be a, standing still, so to speak. So I agree with you totally. So it's important to be aware of your friends. And then also, so many people have relationships. I agree with you totally. They're like on life support, these relationships, and they keep resuscitating them. And it's like, just let them go. It was done
Yeah.
5 or 10 years ago. You don't need to keep bringing that person around. So
let me ask a question. So why are people scared? Why are they afraid of letting go of those unproductive relationships? Why?
I think it's because they don't want to be perceived as a bad guy. Sometimes you have to be raw and honest with somebody, like, hey, this just doesn't work for me anymore, or your style of behavior. And so they have to be honest, and nobody wants to be seen as the villain or the bad guy. And so they just instead they pretend and they play that fake role, even though when they leave, every time they hang out with that person afterwards, they feel depleted and they feel worse, and they know they shouldn't, but they go, oh, it's just once a year I see that person, or I only every week or two I talk to him or her, and so they'd rather just not rock the boat, so to speak. So I think that's a lot of what it is. That's why I have that affirmation that I tell people: I'm asserting the mastery of my real self. It's time to assert it. Bring your authentic self forward. If certain relationships don't work, for those watching this, like, let them go. It's okay. I feel like you do yourself and them a disservice by keeping them around if you don't really want them to be around, because there's somebody around them who will value them. So I heard a woman say, she wrote the book. I think it was like the four laws of prosperity. I believe it was the book she wrote.
Okay.
But she said, she was talking about this same principle in regards to work. She said, if you go to work every day at a job you hate, she said, you're stealing the job of somebody who would actually enjoy that job. So go and leave it and go do something you enjoy.
Yes.
So,
Why do people? I think one of the reasons why people are scared or afraid to walk away is because they don't like conflict.
Absolutely,
Makes them uncomfortable. Makes them uncomfortable. They don't like it. It makes them feel uncomfortable. So because they don't want to feel uncomfortable, they still hold on to that relationship. And they suffer emotionally, mentally, even physically. They suffer because they don't want conflict. They don't want conflict. And so let's talk about that.
It's like ripping off a Band-Aid. It's easier to just rip it off than to keep going slowly and slowly and slowly. So I agree with that. And then nowadays, it's interesting because another study they did where it was about people who were going to get fired from a job. They said, how would you want to get fired? And over 90% of the people said they would just rather be like sat down and told, hey, you're fired, and just let go without, like this big song and dance and like beating around the bush. And is that how people fire each other? Usually it's not. They go like, well, things aren't kind of working out. And that's how they end relationships too. So I think it's better to just go in, handle it. I was even listening to Jordan Peterson talk about this. You know who Jordan Peterson is? Yeah. You might have even posted it. He talked about how if conflict comes up, he likes to handle it right away. He likes to just go to the person and say, what's the issue? He said he doesn't like conflict. It causes a lot of stress for him, but he'd rather just get to the core of it right away and get it done. And that's how I am too. If somebody has an issue with me, I'm like, all right, let's air it out and, like get it resolved right away. Usually it's much smaller than whatever it is that we think it is. If you believe, I like to take a spiritual view of everything. If you believe that there's only God, underneath the stress, the negativity, whatever, the psyche of man, there's the spiritual presence of God. So I try to see like instead of me communicating to you like person to person, I like to see like it's soul talking to soul, the spirit of God communicating to the spirit of God. And usually we can come to some resolution or solution irrespective of how things look at the time. So that's
let me say this. If any of your people, if they have a problem with how do I say, with conflict, they don't know how to bring up a subject and deal with an issue. One of the things I would suggest is for them to get on Twitter
and just argue with people. Yeah.
Oh no! When you get on Twitter, the reason why I'm good on TikTok is because I'm dangerous on Twitter. You don't try me on Twitter. You don't. I'm not scared of conflict. I'm not afraid of conflict. I say my mind. I say and it does something to you. It builds your confidence. It totally builds your confidence because you're not scared of any situation, and it translates into your life, into your job, into your business, into your relationships. So if they're having, they're scared of, confronting people, bringing up issues, talking about stuff, tell them to go open an account on Twitter. Yeah. Because let me tell you, trying to protect people, you see somebody's weak. This person is weak. The only, like Charles O'Neill, Charles O'Neill, the master key.
Oh yeah.
Charles,
yeah,
the master key, Charles O'Neill.
Yeah.
He said the only cure for weakness is power. That's the only cure.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the only cure for weakness. It's power. It's not trying to protect them. It's not trying to shield them from their situation and conflict and problem. The cure for weakness, Charles O'Neill, the master key, the cure for weakness is power. So you have to, how do I say it? Either you create a situation where they have to use their power and they're compelled and forced to use their power. Because if they never use their power, they will become weak. Everybody has power. Everybody has power. But if you don't put them in the right conditions and right situations, they will never use their power and they will remain weak. So you find a way and push them. Sometimes teachers like us, you try to protect people. This guy is weak or this girl is weak. Let's protect. No. Sometimes it's terrible. It's a mistake. Mm-hmm. Let them enter situations of conflict and strife and difficult, tough situations, and they will be forced and compelled to release and use their power.
I agree, and amen. I have a few things to say to that. They have to undergo their crucible, so to speak. I realized, I realized this years back. I would see there would be two groups of people. When I did, for those of you who don't know, I compete in Muay Thai fights. I've done boxing matches. So I realized that there was two groups of people. There was those who would put themselves into these scary situations and compete. And then there was the people who were also training at the same time, but wouldn't compete. And the people who were competing were growing at a much more exponential rate and developing a level of mastery that the other people who weren't competing, but still training at the same time, were growing at. And so I said, I need to put myself in these situations. So I would go and do these fights against God knows who, but it helped. And then, like you said, it translates. If I know I can handle myself physically, I know that whatever someone says isn't going to really affect me mentally or emotionally the way it would if I was weak, if I didn't believe in myself. So that's one. And then two, sometimes my cousin was talking to me about this. Sometimes people say negative stuff on my videos and I respond to them. And he goes, why don't you just ignore them? I said, I like to, because it sharpens your debate skills. It sharpens your reasoning skills. It's a skill that every time you practice it, it gets sharper and sharper and sharper. And then they can say something and you respond right away, and it doesn't phase you. And you learn how to debate. You learn how to engage. You learn how to interact with each other. The real world, there's going to be people who are going to say stuff. So you got to develop a strong exterior, so to speak.
Yeah, you have to. I think you've recommended the Master Key, Charles O'Neill. You recommended that book. Mm-hmm. I think you should do that again. I think you should do it again and again, because many people, the first time you do it, they don't take it seriously. They don't take it seriously, and you have to repeat. You have to repeat an idea up to 20 times or so before they grab it and they go take the book and read it. I will tell you something that happened to me on Twitter. Let me tell you something that happened to me on Twitter. I posted something and 10,000 people came to attack me. 10,000. Wow. 10. Not 500 people, not 1,000 people. 10,000. They came at me. Now, it was stressful, but it's building character inside of me because I stood my ground. 10,000. I stood my ground. You can't. So can you imagine you having, after facing 10,000 people on Twitter, you go out and you have a situation. I'm not moved. Man, I'm strong. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm strong. Do you understand what I'm saying? So those situations, they build your mind, build you, make you strong. So trying to keep and shield people from conflict is really hurting them and doing them a disservice. So we should try and encourage the people we're teaching and training, and encourage them, to you. Have you read what's the name of this guy, Robert Greene, the other 33 Laws of War?
The 48. Yeah, no, I haven't read that. I have it.
No,
I have a
not
list of
48
books
Laws
to
of
read.
Power. Not 48 Laws of Power. For other 33 Laws of War, the laws of war. Have you read it?
No, I haven't.
Robert Greene. Robert
No.
Greene. You should read it. I think one of the first laws of war is that you should intentionally put yourself in a difficult situation.
I agree. Yep.
Intentionally.
Totally.
That's one of the first laws of war. Intentionally put yourself in a difficult situation that you'll be forced and compelled to do something. Do you know the story of that man, that army that went to war and they burnt their boats? You remember that?
Yeah. They burn all the ships.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they burnt the boats and said, "Listen, we're either going to win or we will die." So, one of the laws, the first laws of war, is to put yourself in a difficult situation that will compel you to use your power. So it's intentional. Intentional. I'm listening
I
to you.
I know. I think it's great. I have a bunch of points to say to all this. So I agree with you totally. It reminds me of two pivotal times in my life. The first time was when I started my own business. I was 22. My friend and I started a business. He borrowed from a separate friend. It was nearly 40,000 so we can get the business going. And I remember I
Okay.
told myself, I said, either this business will make it or I'll die, but there's no in between. And sure enough, I pushed myself. I worked on a night and day, and within 6 months, we paid all $40,000 back, and within a
Wow.
year, we got it to do over $200,000 in sales. So that was one, but it was a risk. And then another time was when I first moved to LA. I had been accepted to a real prestigious school, but I didn't have any way to afford it. So I went and got this little tiny apartment in South Central LA. For those who don't know, South Central is one of the worst neighborhoods in the United States. I moved there. My friend calls it like the Roach Motel. I remember it was like I had this little tiny mattress. Bugs would crawl on me as I would sleep. Like, it was horrible. But then from there, I met one of my best friends. I moved in with him. I graduated from that school. I started that business, but I had to put myself in that situation so that good
Yeah.
things would come from it. Now,
Yeah.
I also want to go back. Like you had mentioned, excuse me for 1 second. Let me just plug this in really quick, just so I can get my computer died. You had mentioned the Master Key system and reading it 20
Yes.
times. I read it every year. I've read it so many times now. People go, wow, you know this stuff so well. It's because you need to just repetition. There was a saying, it goes, repetition.
She's the
Repetition
mother
is
of
the
learning.
mother of, yeah, repetition is the
Of
mother of
learning.
skill. So you got to,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So I've done this, I've read that book over and over and over again. And every time I read it, I get a deeper understanding of it. I find there's so much, like you just said that phrase earlier about the only way to get rid of weakness is power. And I
It's
was like,
power.
yeah, but it was like I
Yes.
heard it for the first time. So despite having read the book so many times.
Yeah.
So I think that's fantastic. And then when I first started coaching, I originally started with coaching men in the dating area. So, and I would get results with these men, but I would do it privately because I didn't want to put myself out there publicly. It was I'm usually or at the time, I was a real private person. So suddenly I was going to share all of my dating exploits and how I have success with women. It was scary to me. So the first thing I posted an article or a blog post on Reddit, and it went super viral. Like, same thing, and suddenly I had all these guys who had no success with women telling me about how I'm a fake and I'm a fraud and I'm a scam artist. And I was like, man, should I delete this? But then I thought, no, I'm going to speak my truth. This is my reality. Like, this is what I'm accomplishing,
Yeah.
and I'm getting results for men. And just because that's not the
Yeah.
reality, I'm not going to run away from the crowd, so to speak. And
Yeah.
I stuck with it. And then all these guys ended up following me, and I changed a bunch of their lives. So yeah, so I agree with you totally. And sometimes that's life's way of testing you. Like, hey, are you serious about this? Are you really going to
Yeah.
make an impact, or are you going to go back into your shell? So sometimes you got to just, go full steam ahead and make things happen.
Yeah. So about that, Charles Hanil, I want us to talk about visualization. So we're
Yes.
going to find a time, maybe this weekend or so, either Saturday or Sunday. I want us to talk about. We're going to talk about visualization, because I've seen that. Um, um, I'm going to tell you a passage of scripture from the Bible. A passage of scripture from the Bible. I think it's Genesis 14:15 or so. So God was talking to Abraham. He says, "As far as you can see, I will give to you. As far as you can see." Have you ever heard this before?
I maybe keep going, but I know you're going to break it down.
As far, this is a statement. This is a statement. As far as you can see, you will possess. As far as you can see. So if you don't see it, you can't possess it. You have to see it. So that is a fundamental principle. It's a spiritual law. It's a spiritual law. So God was telling Abraham that as far as you can see, not what I show you, you, as far as you have to see it. So as far as you can see, you will possess. You will attract into your life. That's the fundamental law of attraction. That's the fundamental law. So if people cannot visualize and see exactly what they want, they'll be stuck on the same spot. So visualization is very important, and I think we have to talk about visualization on its own, and talk about visualization and help people, to see the things that they want, to help them, because many people they can't focus, they can't concentrate, they can't hold on to one thought and just stay. They can't. Their thoughts are everywhere. So visualization is a powerful thing. So I'd like us to talk about it. I'm listening. Not today. We're going to talk about it.
I agree with that. That's one of the things that the Master Key system talks about. People are scatterbrained. They have one thought, 1 second, one thought, and they wonder why they don't get anywhere, because they're constantly jumping. And the exercise, the first week, he has you just take control of your body. Just sit still. Yeah. And see if you can just sit still without getting up and moving. Most people can't sit still for 5 minutes, especially nowadays. So you have to get control of your body first. And then the second week, he has you see if you can just take control of your mind. If you can relax your mind, get passive. And then from there, he has you do exercises like you visualize something and see if you can just visualize that for 15 minutes. And you have to develop your concentration so that you could, essentially create what it is that you want. Now, there was something else that I wanted to say that I thought would be important. Oh, yeah. You were saying, as far as your eyes can see, I was thinking of the quote, he who is without vision perishes. It's a similar. Mm-hmm.
Woo! I like that. Keep on.
Yeah. So it's a similar thing. If you don't have vision, if you're not seeing something in your life, what are you going to do? You're just going to look at what's around you, and then you're just going to create more of what is, instead of calling for something much higher and better for your life. And people wonder why they're stuck. It's because they don't have vision. They don't see what it is that they want. They're not showing it to themselves. And as a result, they just keep looking at what's around them and just creating. They're just telling the universe, give me more of this, even though it's what they don't want. So
let me say this. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to leave you to continue with your people. I'm going to say this.
I'm glad you jumped in.
So I'm going to say this. So on Twitter, I tell my followers to relocate from the wrong environment and move to the right environment, because success is impossible in the wrong environment. Success is totally impossible in the wrong environment. Why? One of the things is that, one reason is that in the wrong environment, you will only find the wrong people. The wrong environment, the wrong people. And the wrong people will never recognize, receive, or reward your value. They will never recognize your value. They will never receive your value. They will never reward your value. In fact, the wrong people will make you feel like you have zero value, and they will make you feel worthless and useless in the wrong environment. So one of the things you do for yourself is move away from the wrong environment, and mental environment, physical environment. So you were talking about the environment that you stayed when you first came to LA. So this is what I tell my people. I tell my people on Twitter. It is better for you to live in a shack. Live in a shack in Beverly Hills. Live in a shack in Beverly Hills. That when you wake up in the morning and you come out of your one room in Beverly Hills, what you see around you, the visualization, what you see is success. So you come out of that one room in Beverly Hills, but all you see is success around you. Or you can have a mansion in central LA, which is ghetto. And that's a terrible place to be. So it is better for you to have that one room in Beverly Hills, just one room, just a small room and tiny space. Because when you wake up every morning, what you see, you just see success, and it's affecting your mind, it's affecting your thinking, because environment matters. Environment is important. Environment. So to help your visualization, you may need to relocate. You may need to move from where you are and move to a new location to help your visualization.
This, by the way, I agree with you totally. So I talk about, so some people can't immediately move. So I tell them, at least in the interim, what I have them do is it's an abundance exercise. I actually did it for myself, and I attracted so much wealth. So at the time, I didn't have much money. Things weren't going right for me. And I said, I need to create money. So I took myself, every city has an area like this. For instance, in New York, they have Manhattan, that's really affluent. In LA, Manhattan, it's Beverly Hills. In San Diego, there's Del Mar. So I went to Del Mar, to this really upscale hotel, and I sat at the lounge area where it's all these wealthy people. I even ran into somebody who I knew was really wealthy. At the time, I had like maybe even less than $20. If they told me to buy a drink at the bar, I couldn't have bought it. They would have kicked me out. So, but I just sat and I felt the affluence of the place. It's by the beach. It's beautiful. Everything's luxurious. There's all these beautiful women. All the men are dressed nice. They're all successful. My friend that I ran into is super successful that was there. And what did I do? I wrote out how I'd like my life to be. I said, I'll be living in Carlsbad, which I live right now. I said, I will be the #1 producer for my company, which I ended up becoming. I'll earn such and such dollars. And I wrote it out in the present tense. I am earning such and such, living here, doing this. My body's in great shape. And I wrote it out, and I got into the feeling tone of it. And then when I went back to my old place, what I did was every day I would read what I wrote out, but I would feel as if I was there again in the rich place. So I'm attracting, so even physically, I hadn't been there, but mentally, emotionally, vibrationally, I was already living in that new environment. And within a month, everything came together. I got a new job right by where it is that I wanted to move. I live now where I wanted to live. I ended up becoming #1 in sales. It was like everything changed. And it started with me changing internally. So you change the internal and the external changes. The reason I mention that is some people might say, well, that's easy for you to say, I can't move yet or whatever. Everyone can do that exercise. All it'll cost you is, a couple hours on a weekend one day to go drive to whatever that affluent area is, get into the vibration of it, and it will cause things to shift for them. So
an exercise before I go, an exercise for everybody, an exercise. I used to do this a lot. What you're saying, I used to do it. So you go to an expensive restaurant.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. That's another one.
You save money for 3 months or so. Just save some money and go buy lunch in an expensive restaurant and sit in that restaurant. You can be there for an hour, 30 minutes, and just saturate and just take in the environment and just because all around you are successful people. Then there's a way. There is a study that connects your emotions with food, with what you're eating, your emotions with food. And one of the keys in the laws of attraction is your emotion, having a very high emotional state. So you have to get yourself to a high emotional state. So if you're eating good food in a good environment and you're seeing all these wonderful people, your emotional state just goes high. So anybody listening to me right now, save some money, go to the best restaurant you can afford in your city or state. Save some money. Don't worry, don't rush it. Save some money. Dress really nice. And so that you feel good. Go to that restaurant, sit down and enjoy your meal. It will affect your mind. It will affect your mind. You can go back to wherever you stay, it doesn't matter, but it's going to do something to your mind, To do something.
So he recommended this exercise. You might not remember this, but I had posted something about this. And you said you recommended this exercise, and you said when you eat, you said, tell yourself, this is my life now. This is how things will be from now on. And so I did that. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I did. I can't remember.
Yeah. Yep. I went and did this. I got dressed up. I went to a super nice lunch by myself. I was relaxed. It's by the beach. I told myself, this is my life now. This is how things are going to be.
This is your life. This is my life now. This is wait, can you let's this is what I do for my followers. I tell them they should write it down. This is my life now. This is so they write it down. They have an affirmation. You can tell them. So they write it down and they have it. They remember it, and so they go use it. So this is my life now. This is how things will be, and then I'm getting better. Yeah, this is my life now. And the more you do it, the better. The more you do it, the more frequent. You'll find out one day that things have just changed. Things have just changed. Your life has changed, and you have no idea. You know, you're going to say something. Sorry.
No, that's exactly what happened. I ended up manifesting all this money, and this is my life now. My friend messaged me the other day. Thank you. He's like, Tony, you eat so well. He's like, all your Instagram photos are you out eating somewhere like super fancy, super nice. And I was like, yeah, that's my life now. When you do that, you're setting up a reference point for your brain. Your brain knows now, like, okay, this is it. This is what I'm creating for, for him or her, depending on who's watching. This is what my life is now, or you can say this or something better, and it will start creating that for you. Show yourself what it is you want. And that was what my life is now. So now and I was thinking the other day, exactly what you said. I said, how did I get here? Like, how did things work out good? How did things turn out this way? And so little by little, or putting yourself in these states and taking yourself to these places, you end up manifesting what it is you want. And so I listen when you talk, my friend. Thank you.
So Saturday, we're going to have a live. We're going to talk about visualization. So tell your friends, tell your people. Yeah, I'm going to tell them. So we'll fix a time. We'll fix a good time for you. We'll fix a good time for you. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend. Blessings.
Thanks for joining. I was great connecting with you. I'll talk to you soon. All right. I'll see you later. Oh, I don't know how to disconnect it, so I'm going to stay on. I'll see you later. So everybody, if you don't follow him, please do. We dropped some spiritual knowledge on you. I'm super glad he tuned in because that was awesome. And he also shares these golden nuggets that have improved my life, that have had a tremendous impact on me, and he'll have a tremendous impact on you too. The guy is he's like, every time I listen to him talk, it's like taking a spiritual shower or something. Like, he just drops like gem after gem after gem after gem all day long. So I highly recommend following him. So I'm grateful he tuned in. Let me just grab a water really quick, and then I'm going to answer the questions that came forth. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I will answer them because I want to help you succeed. So, do you have, okay, inevitably a counterintuitive state of mind. Okay. My Italian grandmother had so many proverbs. The one that stood out translates roughly, there's people that believe in you even if they're old friends. Yeah, so people that believe in you, exactly. The people you want around you are people who believe in you because they vibrate to that image of what it is you want to create, and so they uplift you. Meditation is challenging because we are impatient as humans and don't like to feel uncomfortable. If you're feeling uncomfortable while meditating, that's actually great. Don't stop. That's because you're meditating and your conscious mind is starting to become relaxed, and all that stuff, all that junk that's in your subconscious that hasn't been addressed is starting to come up from your subconscious into your conscious mind to be released once and for all, so that it's not vibrating beneath the surface night and day. So just relax. Don't focus on it. Just keep focusing on your breathing or whatever your meditation is, and let that stuff come up so it can be released. Have you tried black light strips on the wall? I have not. I don't know what that is, so let me know. I just came across your page. Can you share a bit about your story and how you came to be? Yes, if you guys would like to hear that. Excuse me for one moment. So basically, I was diagnosed, I was told that I had GERD by the top medical experts in the United States. GERD is gastroesophageal reflux disease. So I was told it was an incurable condition, that I needed an emergency surgery, that they were going to cut me open from here to here, and that basically I would have to get this special bed and adjust what I ate for the rest of my life and sleep a certain way. And I remember I went home and I was like, God, please don't let them cut me open. I do not want to do this. And I was working with my friend at the time, who's this very famous fighter. And right after I got done saying that, an email came in from this chiropractor, who's now one of my good friends. It was addressed to my friend. It said, hey, I know you have some injuries. I can help you out if you want to come see me. So I went and saw that chiropractor, and he used to teach spirituality classes. Oh, I saw him, and they had told me I needed this emergency surgery, and I saw him just 2 or 3 visits, and I was 100% well. My stomach was 100%. My eyesight, for whatever reason, it was crystal clear, and it's been super crystal clear since that day. And it was like all my senses were suddenly heightened. And I started going to his spirituality classes. That was one. And then also, when I had moved from San Diego to LA for school, I thought that once I moved, I would suddenly be like this happy person living this super happy life. And when I arrived at my school, I realized that like, hey, I was still the same person despite my circumstances changing. I was still the same Tony as before. So I realized it wasn't my outer world, it was my inner world that needed to change. So I started reading all these books on self-help, self-development. That was when I was 19. I'm in my late 30s now. And so I started reading all these books and they started having an effect on me. And then I just kept studying them and studying them and studying them and studying them. I was trying to find like why, basically like why certain things work. Like why are some people happy and successful and others weren't? And how do I take these people who aren't happy and successful and move them into that other category? So I just kept studying all these people. And then eventually I started getting really good at this. And then I started getting really good at this. I started studying hypnosis, the Silva method, suggestion and auto-suggestion. And then I think Russian Mike is going to have to wait. I'm going to decline that because I don't know who he is. And so eventually, what's it called? I don't know. I want to call myself like an expert in this area because I know so much about this stuff now that other people don't know. And then I became a licensed practitioner at the Agape International Spiritual Center. It was a 5-year program. I would pray with people. You're licensed to counsel people through their center. So I spent a lot of time. I spent years and years and thousands of dollars learning all this stuff. What an excellent acknowledgement of ineluctable tension. I am having a hard time pronouncing that, but thank you. Different mindsets. That's how you know who your real friends are. Exactly. You're a good person I would get along with. I have always a good time learning others' perspective. Oh, thank you. You see within me what's within you. So if you guys like something about me, that's because it's within you. So I'm glad you see it within me because that's what's present within you. Sometimes I just overthink about life. I need to enjoy the moment instead of overcomplicating it. That's everybody. That's so many of us. If that happens, just pull yourself back. Ask yourself, you have your emotional guidance system. That's within all of us. That's that system that connects you with your higher self, so to speak, that tells you if you're on track or off track. So if you ever start to feel too tense, just pull it back. Start to breathe deep. Get your mind off whatever it was that you were focusing on that was causing you stress, and start to feel good. To tell yourself, like, what's good in my life right now? What can I focus on that would make me feel good? And move your focus from whatever is causing you stress to whatever feels good. The purpose of life is to feel good. And by feeling good, you'll attract more good to you. And then it builds momentum and you're suddenly in this beautiful place. I was not expecting this answer. Awesome thought process. You are welcome. Okay, a bunch of questions just came in. So let's see. Let me see. So by the way, I mentioned this earlier. TikTok is different how the questions come in. So I have to like manually do it, and then suddenly, so I hadn't checked in like 30 minutes or however long. So all these people came in. Okay, so, I think I got rid of the old messages. If I miss your message, just please resend it because I want to answer everybody. I need something like that. I have fibromyalgia and 2 herniated discs and a heart defect. Please send me a message. I'll send you my friend's info and you can connect with him. I have 2 meditations for anybody who's dealing with a health issue. I actually have a number of free resources on YouTube. The first is Tony Namey. You can either type in Tony Namey, heal your body if you have a physical issue, or Tony Namey, heal your mind. We'll get to the mental or emotional cause of whatever's going on with you. And then I'll give you a series of positive affirmations and stuff, but at a deep subconscious level to help that improve you. That's one. So Tony Namey, heal your body, or Tony Namey, heal your mind. You can also type in Tony Namey, get healthy now, and we'll create a positive self-image for you of total health and impress that on your subconscious. And your subconscious controls your beliefs, your habits, and your bodily functions. So when you start showing it images of health, it doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's false. So it'll say, oh, this is me now, and go to work to make that a reality for you. Also, I want you to listen to the following track. Type in Tony Namey, Perfect Health Concept. So Tony Namey, Perfect Health Concept. It's a daily affirmation track that you listen to, and it just reprograms your mind to start thinking healthier, to start taking healthier actions. It'll get you on a healthy slant. I would recommend listening to it daily. It'll also develop your self-confidence and your level of peace and harmony as you go through your life. So it's Tony Namey, Perfect Health Concept. It's based on the work of Emile Coué, the famous French psychologist who coined the term every day and every way I'm getting better and better. He was an amazing psychologist who did a tremendous amount of healing work just via suggestion by giving people positive ideas. And the language in that recording has been updated for today's time. And it was made by Dr. Thurman Fleet, my favorite spiritual teacher. Am I married? I am not. So if you're asking, feel free to hit me up. No, I'm just kidding. I am not married, but I would like to be married probably within the next year or two. The Cairo is in San Francisco. And I have someone who does a similar. He's trained a number of chiropractors in his technique that he does. So he has them all around the United States. So I can send you a website where you can look and find somebody in your area. Any tips on fixing beliefs about not being enough, likable, and everyone hating you since a child? Yes. I have a number of tips that'll help you right now. And I have a story that'll help elucidate the tips that I'm going to give you. So first, I recommended this exercise earlier. I have a video on it as well on YouTube or on here. You can just type in Tony Namey, get rid of limiting beliefs, or Tony Namey limiting beliefs. It'll pop up on YouTube or on here. And what it is grab a pen and paper, and on the left write disempowering beliefs. And on the right of it, you're going to draw a line down the middle. On the left write disempowering beliefs. On the right write empowering beliefs. And list all of your disempowering beliefs. Like, I don't like myself, I hate myself, I'm not likable, whatever it is. List this on the left. Now on the right, I want you to write its positive opposite. I like myself, people like me, I am loved by everyone I meet enjoys me, I am enough, I'm good enough, I'm great, and so forth. By the way, I'm not enough is one of these beliefs that nearly everybody has had to deal with at some point, and it's such horse shit. And I'll explain why. Right where you are, I spoke about this earlier, the infinite potential of God is. God is all-knowing, all-powerful, everywhere present. So right where you are, the Spirit of God is in its totality is just dormant potential. So people go through life thinking like, oh, it's just little old me, which is nonsense. You're the infinite power and potential of God. That's what I see. That's why I get so amped when I talk to you guys. Like, I know there's this infinite power within you. It's my job to give you the right ideas, to develop the right rapport with you so that I could bring that forth. So we get this idea somehow at some point that we're not good enough, usually as we're children, because your conscious mind isn't yet fully developed. And it's like you have this little programmed 8-year-old you that's running the show as an adult, and it's nonsense. So I'm going to give you the exercise, then I'll tell you a story of how you can change things. So you have your list: disempowering beliefs, empowering beliefs. Now I want you to write out, what is it costing me? What is all the pain I feel by having these disempowering beliefs? And I want you to spend 5 minutes writing it all out. Really make yourself feel like shit about it. The purpose of it is your subconscious is trying to keep you safe. I spoke about this exercise earlier, so if you've already heard it, just bear with me, but it's worth hearing again. Your subconscious is trying to keep you safe. So it has this image of you that it's trying to enforce at all times. So when you associate massive amounts of pain to these old negative ideas, this old negative belief system, this bullshit, so to speak, BS, it's going to say, okay, these ideas are now painful. I'm no longer going to enforce them. Now you're going to shake yourself off because you're in a negative state. You're going to shake yourself off and write, what is all the pleasure I'll feel by believing these new ideas? And then spend 5 or 10 minutes writing them out. Really, ask yourself, how good will I feel if I believe that I like myself and people like me? And so you're essentially rewiring your subconscious, and it takes 10 minutes. You don't have to spend the rest of your life in therapy doing this. And your subconscious will no longer move towards those disempowering beliefs, but it will instead move towards those empowering beliefs. And then every day, throw away the disempowering beliefs, and every day, read those empowering beliefs and say them to yourself with feeling and emphasis, because the more emotion that an affirmation has, the faster it gets impressed on your subconscious and the quicker it manifests in your life. And if you do this for a month or 60 days, they say it takes 60 days to create a new habit. I know people say 21 days, but in reality, it takes 21 days, I believe, on average. But I say give yourself the full 60 days. You'll be in such a different world that you'll write me a nice thank you letter. That's one. So do that exercise. You can type in Tony Namey limiting beliefs on YouTube or on here if you need to go through it again, the steps for it. 2, I'll tell you the story first, and then I'll tell you what to do. A friend, he's a friend now, but a man comes to me one day, and I've told the story on other lives, so if you've heard it, bear with me. He's this tall, good-looking guy. He dressed well, and he tells me, I'm like, what can I help you with? He's like, women aren't attracted to me. And I'm like, there's no way. Like, you're tall, you're good looking, he's got a good job, he speaks well, he's a good person, like, he's super cool. I'm like, there's no way that you have a hard time meeting women. Like, and he's like, no. So, he's like, whenever I talk to them, something seems to go wrong. So luckily by us, there was an attractive woman. I said, go talk to her. I want to see what happens. So he goes and introduces himself, like really confidently. He said, hey, I'm so-and-so. And they talk for like a minute or two. And then sure enough, like something happens in the middle of the interaction. And I can tell she's not feeling him anymore. And he's uncomfortable. And she ends up leaving. He's like, see, I told you, like, it just gets weird at a certain point. So I told him, I said, tell me about yourself. Like, how do you feel about yourself? Like, he's like, I think I'm a good guy. Like, oh no, he said like, I have a good job, I dress well. And I said, no, tell me about yourself. Like, how do you feel about yourself? And he's like, I think I'm ugly. Now, mind you, his reality and his belief systems were night and day. He was not ugly at all. He was a tall, handsome, well-dressed guy who was built, spoke well. Like, on paper, he's exactly what women would want. And so I'm like, where did you get this idea? And he told me, he said, when he was, I don't know, like, let's say third grade, there was this girl he liked. She was the most popular girl in class. He went to ask her out, and he told her whatever her name was. We'll call her, it doesn't matter what her name is. He went up and asked her out. He said, hey, I'd like you to be my girlfriend. And she told him, she's like, ew, I would never be your girlfriend. You're so ugly. And all of her friends started laughing at him. And he had this idea he got from her, unfortunately, that he was ugly. And so he had little 10-year-old him, essentially that negative program that he got, running his adult life. And it had no basis in reality anymore. So what I had him do was, I had him take a few deep breaths. I counted down from 20 to 1, regressing him, putting him in a real relaxed state of mind. And then I had him go in his mind up to that moment to where he was about to ask that girl out. And I said, instead of her saying, what she said, I said, instead of her saying that, she's going to tell you that she's thrilled that you asked her out and that like she's so happy to have you as her boyfriend and she's honored. And instead of those girls saying negative comments, I had them all applaud and cheer for him and her. And I made the image real bright and beautiful. And I had him amplify the feelings of good and really feel how much he's appreciated and cherished. And then I brought him out of the session. And it was like the light switch turned on. This guy became so freaking confident. And he believed in himself so much. It was essentially the defining moment in his life. Now, in regards to you, I would just go see a good hypnotherapist. Have them do the same process for you. And by the way, you can send me a DM. I'll give you my hypnotherapist number and have them fix that out. It'll take you one session and you'll feel amazing. And that way you won't have to deal with that nonsense anymore. A lot of us got ideas early on in our childhood that have no basis in reality. So you're an adult now. It's time to change it and create for yourself what it is you want. What's his name? Sorry, I just logged on. Let me know what you mean. I think we might have been talking about Charles Handel. Right on time. Who is again? Thank you. So cool. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you everyone for the kind words. Hi guys. Hello. If success is in the picture, yes. What movie in the grab him and take him? Oh, that is Conan the Destroyer with Grace Jones and Arnold Schwarzenegger. See it to possess it. My pastor will learn next Bible study. Awesome. What an excellent acknowledgement of the imaginal world. Everything starts with your imagination. You want to move from higher to lower. Start with the idea you have in mind, then start to think about it, and then you'll create it in your world. So it's idea, thought, thing. Most people are trying to work from this physical reality and just creating more of what is. So start with an image in your mind. I want this. And then tell yourself, like, work out the specifics. Like, let's say you want a new body. See it. And then tell yourself, so that's the image. I want a new body. Like, and see it, you have a six-pack and it looks great. Then work it out in your thought world. I'm going to exercise this many days. I'm going to do this. I'm going to eat this way. And then physically go after it. Love how people that put themselves in difficult situations grow faster. Yes. Gold, for it to be gold, they take it and put it under the fire to burn off all the dross, the impurities. And in like fashion, put yourself in those situations that scare you. Ask yourself, what is it that scares me? And go and do it. And as a result, you'll grow from it. What book? I think we were talking about the Master Key System from Charles Handel. Courage is about how you overcome fear. Absolutely. Flex that courage muscle. One thing that I tell myself every day is I am full of courage. I am full of courage. I've heard 3 of my favorite spiritual teachers, Charles Handel, Dr. Fleet, and Emil Coué, all say the same thing. and William Walker Atkinson, 4 of them, all say the same thing, that you should tell yourself daily that you're full of courage. Why? You want to flex that courage muscle so that when something comes up that is scary to you, you'll be prepared for it, and then that way you'll get stronger. I didn't ask him what he said on Twitter. That would have been good. Peace to all. I hope I see you all soon. Likewise. Your perspective is valid. Thank you. Straight from the soul right now. You settle for that. All right, I'm just reading with the comments that are coming in. People know. If people realize the value within themselves, they would transform their lives. So many of you, this is something good that I want to talk about. So many of you beat yourselves up for the past, and it's so far from how the divine sees you or how the reality of who you currently are. If I could recommend another exercise to you, it would be every day to praise yourself for the good that you're doing. A lot of you, when I look at your lives from the outside or looking in, it's admirable. You get ready, you go to your work, you go to your job, so to speak, every day. You earn your keep, so to speak, but then you come home and you berate yourself. Stop that. Like, speak nicely to yourself. Speak to yourself the way a best friend would. You're doing a good job. You've done a lot of good in the past. You made some mistakes. All of us have. That's how you learn and grow. And here you are. So tell yourself, like, every day, and you'll feel this will build your self-esteem. Tell yourself, like, what good took place in my past? Or at the end of every day, what good did I do today? And as a result, you'll grow from it. And then ask yourself, should I have done differently? And let's say you got up late. You'll say, okay, tomorrow I'll get up early. Don't beat yourself up. Look at yourself the way a scientist would, and just keep adjusting yourself every day until you become the person you want to be. Just be open-minded and curious about the other person's life and perspective. Exactly. Awesome. I'm just looking to see what comments come in. Someone said you've got to set your own boundaries. I think it's hugely important. You have to have boundaries. You have to be aware of what you will and won't tolerate, and you have to enforce them when people come through. I had a friend of mine, I had known him for a long period of time, and suddenly he started hanging out with different people at his work, and he started joking with me in an offensive format. He started, they call it basing, going where you go back and forth with each other and degrade each other. And I don't like joking like that. Even though I don't know if he's joking or not, he says he's joking. I don't like that, because underneath that is some type of shame or guilt or something. Why do I want to call forth the worst in my friend? So I sat him down and I told him, I said, hey, I don't joke with people like this. This isn't how people joke with me. And if you want to continue to be friends, then you have to discontinue this behavior. So, have you read Susan R. Cook Gruder's work? No, let me know what that is, because if it's good, I'll read it. Am I a fishing lure I bring down to catch the big fish? I'm not sure what that means, but according to the Corpus Hermeticum, yes. What does the Kabbalion say? It says, as within, so without, as above, so below. So, work with the higher and the lower will shift. Speaking of that, I was going to make a video about this in regards to manifestation. As above, so below. On the lower plane, we have, when a woman is pregnant, there's a certain incubation time from the time she's impregnated until the child is born, which is typically 9 months. For all of you that are seeking to manifest what it is you want, a lot of you are getting frustrated because it's not here, but there's an incubation time. There's a time that it takes for it to grow. For example, when you plant a seed, it doesn't just spring right up. There's an incubation time before that seed sprouts forth, fruitage or a plant or whatever it is. And like fashion, the same is true for what it is you're seeking to manifest. So give yourself some time for it to grow. So on the spiritual level, you'll have this idea, this image, which is the spiritual seed, so to speak, and see it and feel it so that it starts to grow and it becomes birthed in your life. And it might take some time. Now, the more emotion that you have behind it, the faster it'll show up. But stop giving yourself stillbirth, so to speak, by doubting that what it is that you want will come to pass. I do have a podcast. Just type in, there's a link. Thank you, by the way. There's a link in my bio to my podcast, and I post all this kind of stuff and other topics that I talk about. And I have my YouTube channel as well. Because we love the person, that's why I don't let go. So, if you love somebody, sometimes you have to let them go. I had a woman that I was dating, that she was just in this miserable state and I couldn't bring her out of it, and she just kept bringing me down. And the highest thing I could do for both of us, unfortunately, was to release her so that she could go address whatever it is that she wanted. Facts again, awesome. I can't believe I was lucky enough to stumble upon this. Incredible. Thank you, and thank you for the person who wrote facts. You must be conscious about, someone said, you want to be conscious about who's in your circle. Be aware, not just of who you spend your time with, but also what information are you taking in? Where are you spending your free time, so to speak? Are you reading the news, or are you studying stuff that's going to get you to where or who you want to become? And also, where you put your attention on is what expands. So take your attention, even if it seems right. Somebody tells you, hey, this person did this to me, and you want to respond back with something negative. Like, yeah, I had something like this happen to me. Stop. Refrain from that. Because you're telling the universe, I don't like this, but give me more of it. So cut that out. You made me realize that I have really no real friends. That's okay. You can start from a clean slate, grab a pen and paper, and write out. Thank you, whoever wrote so much light in you. Grab a pen and paper, write out my ideal peer group or my ideal friends, and list who you'd like to spend your time with, who you would like to be around. Visualize that you're with them now, feel it, and you're putting out an energy, and you have to attract people that match up. You attract who you are, you upgrade. It's not a bad thing, it's actually a positive change. Absolutely. Should do a series on the book. I think I've spoken about it in a few videos way back when. Should I start posting some of my old videos, by the way? Because I have a lot of new followers that haven't seen my old stuff. So let me know if you think that's a good idea. What an excellent acknowledgement of emotional integrity. Thank you. I like the way you write, by the way. It's very well done. Where can I find a list of the books you mentioned? Thank you. I have a link in my bio that'll show my recommended books. Have you read Norman Vincent Peale before? I actually have. I've read his book a few times. However, it did not have, I thought it was going to change my life, but it didn't. But if it changes yours, that's all that matters. Think and Grow Rich is also a good book. I have it right here, right next to me. It's a very good book. One thing that people don't know about Think and Grow Rich is his original book that Napoleon Hill wrote was The Laws of Success. It's a giant freaking book. It's excellent. And the reason he wrote Think and Grow Rich was because nobody was buying Laws of Success because the book is so freaking giant. So he just took the main components of Think and Grow Rich and put them in, of the Laws of Success, and put them into Think and Grow Rich so that it would essentially be like an advertisement for his other stuff. But that took off. And then I don't know if most people have read The Laws of Success. So, but the Think and Grow Rich is a great book. Read last to messages. Sorry, it would not let me type so much. Oh, Shira, you're still here. Awesome. I'm glad you're still here. Thank you. Can you name it? Awesome. Thank you for whoever put me in that list of awesome people. I'm so blown away by you. So much positivity and info. Absolutely stupendous. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm honored. I'm glad you guys see this, and I'm glad I could provide value. Especially like it's 3 a.m. I'm glad you're here. Thanks, everybody. When you change, it makes people around you uncomfortable with themselves. Yeah, they're used to a certain you that they've known, and sometimes you outgrow them and they're not used to it. And they need to grow with you. And some people, unfortunately, they'd rather you just be still or stagnant or decaying with them as opposed to growing. When I did my practitioner program, half the class got divorced because you had one spouse that was growing and the other one that was staying still, and eventually there became too big of a disconnect and they ended up leaving. After I went to Tony Robbins on his Facebook page, all these people spoke about how they split from their partner because one partner wasn't into the self-growth stuff. The other person was totally into it, and they ended up splitting. It reminded me, unfortunately, I saw this couple sitting behind me. I saw this couple sitting behind me, and I spoke to the woman. I said, hey, are you enjoying this? Because Tony has you talk to all the people around you. And she's like, I love it. He's the best. This is so awesome. And I said, hey, what about you, man? How are you enjoying it? And he's like, I hate it here. And I told my friend that was with me, I said, watch this guy. He's going to explode within like the next day or two. So every hour I see excuse me, let me just put this water down. I see the woman getting more and more enthusiastic, and she's making progress, and she's like really just, changing her state, and you can tell she's growing and blooming right before our eyes. And the guy is going more and more and more into his shell. Like he's getting angrier and angrier. And sure enough, it didn't take 24 hours. Within a few hours, he made her get up and leave. He's like, we're out of here. We're leaving, which is unfortunate. So, because he had the potential to really grow if he would just stick through whatever was coming up for him. So, yeah, so that's by the way, a great example of how sometimes it's the people closest to you that are sabotaging your success. And that was like, I don't know, which day it was, but the seminar wasn't done, and he actually had them leave in the midst of it. Tell me who you hang out with, and I'll tell you who you are. Absolutely. Yep. Thanks for the response. You're great. Awesome. Can you translate dreams? Absolutely. If you want to translate dreams, just do the following exercise. Before you go to sleep tonight, tell yourself, this is from the Silva Mind Control Method, the book that I recommended earlier by Jose Silva. Tell yourself, tonight while I dream, I will understand and remember my dreams. So again, tonight while I dream, I will understand and remember my dreams. And then have a notebook and pen nearby. And when you wake up in the morning or whenever you wake up, you'll have had a dream that you'll understand and remember, and you can just write it down, and there you go. That's one way. Another thing I like to do is I give myself commands. Like, tonight while I sleep, I will have a dream that will give me the solution to, whatever it is. And then I will understand and remember this dream. That's another thing you can do. And then you write it down when you wake up. I say to write it down right away because once you wake up, when you're sleeping, your brain starts producing chemicals that make you forget what it is that you dreamt about. So I try to write it down right away. That's two. Another thing I do with it is, aside from solutions, if you want to connect with a loved one that's passed, tell yourself, tonight I will connect with whoever it was. I will have a peaceful, loving dream. I will understand and remember my dream. And there is no time and space when you're asleep, so your subconscious will connect you with that person. That's how I would connect with one of my close friends that passed away, and it's always super beautiful. Also, you can connect with people who were, let's say you want to connect with whoever was an awesome metaphysical teacher that's like, from 100 years ago. Tell yourself, tonight I will connect with whoever it is. I will understand, I will have peaceful dreams. I will understand and remember my dreams, and watch who shows up. I also do stuff like, I tell myself, tonight while I sleep, you don't have to do this one, but this is something I do. Tonight while I sleep, if there is somebody that needs my assistance, I will go and visit them while I sleep. And then the next day, I usually get a message from somebody like, hey, you'll never believe it. You showed up in my dream. You told me about X, Y, Z. So that way I can be of assistance while I am sleeping. Any tips on fixing bullying? Oh, yeah. Okay, we answered that one. And then, okay, cool. And then let me see if there's any more questions that come up. You wrote, any tips on fixing beliefs about not being good enough, likable? I think I answered all that one. Okay, good. A bunch of questions came in. Cool. I lost 6 people in the last 3 years. I'm going to try that. Awesome. It works. By the way, a great book for you to read if you've lost somebody close to you is, oh my God, A Testimony of Light by Helen Greaves. So Testimony of Light by Helen Greaves. It shows how we can communicate with people on the other side. Just the form of communication is different. It's done via vibration. So you can send love to those people on the other side and they'll receive it and it'll help them evolve. And in like fashion, they can send you energy from the other side and it'll help you grow. So that's a great book to read. It's Testimony of Light by Helen Greaves. You can find it online for free. Have you ever read the book by Arthur Clarke, The Power of the Subconscious Mind? I thought The Power of the Subconscious Mind was by Joseph Murphy. So unless there's 2 books with the same name but by different authors, I'm pretty sure it's by Joseph Murphy. I've read that book a number of times. So I've spoken about it extensively. So it's a very good book. It'll give you a good insight as to how the subconscious mind works, how to deal with people who bring you superstition and nonsense and negative ideas so that it doesn't affect you. I think it's a really well-written book and a good read. And it gives you a number of positive affirmations for different areas of your life. You, sir, are a person whom I relate to on quite a lot of the things you're trying to admit. Oh, thank you. All right, I appreciate that. Sorry, I had a phone call. Well, welcome back. What's a session with you like? What happens in that time? So, a session with me one-on-one is very similar to what we're doing now. So, oh, yes. Hi, Edgy Mona Lisa. Of course I do. So, we are manifesting that you're going to get the job, and you did. So, I hope things are going great for you, and it's good to see you on here. It's really good to see you on here. What's a session with you like? What happens in that time? So usually a session with me, what happens is someone comes to me and we'll talk about whatever's going on in your life. I'll recommend you strategies and techniques similar to how we're doing right now. And then at the end of it, we'll do kind of like a mini hypnosis session where I'll put you in a relaxed state. I'll put a number of positive ideas into your subconscious, and then I'll bring you out of it. So now you have some tips and techniques, some strategies to work through whatever was going on in your life. We've impressed your subconscious with a number of positive ideas. I send you a recording of the hypnosis session so that you can listen to it to further reinforce those ideas. And then I send you on your way. I try to knock everything out in one session so that you're good for the rest of your life. So, and then Mona Lisa, let me know how things are going with you. Is that like rebirthing? I found you on YouTube. Yeah, awesome. Cool. I have never done rebirthing. I've heard about it from a number of people, but I haven't done it. So I sometimes doubt myself because time is going so slow. If you feel like time is going so slow, just give yourself a series of activities to do and or go donate your time somewhere. So I like to do that. I do it through this and through making videos is how I do it now. But before, I used to just go volunteer a lot because one, I like to help people, and then two, it gives you like a sense of purpose. And it was just something that I enjoyed doing. So I volunteered for like a number of years. So I used to do all kinds of stuff. I would volunteer. I used to run a spirituality class. By the way, I'll tell you a funny hypnosis story since we're all here. So I had this hypnosis class that I would do. I mean, not this hypnosis class, a spirituality class. And at the end of class, I'd always like come up with something fun for the group. Like one day I did a past life regression for everybody. If you're into that, just go on YouTube and type in Tony Namey past life regression. And there's a meditation for you on YouTube about that. So one day I was going to just do a hypnosis session on finances, on money. So I hypnotized everybody. And before I finished the class, there was two of my friends that I used to do the class at their office. So I told them, I said, between now and the next time I see you, you're going to earn more in this time frame than you've earned in the last like three years that they've been in business. They've been open, X amount of years. And I bring them out of the hypnosis session. So a few weeks go by or maybe like a month or so goes by, and I go and see them we're going to have another class. We're all getting together. And I see them, they have like bags under their eyes and they're all tired. And I'm like, yo, what's going on with you guys? And they're like, oh, we've had so much work, but it's been great. I said, really? They're like, what's going on? They said, after we saw you last time, we got a huge government contract. We've earned more in the last month than we've earned in the last however long they had been in business. And they were both doing amazing. So they're two awesome people. So that's a funny little hypnosis story. So be aware of the ideas you're impressing on your subconscious because they can have a huge impact on your life and on your bottom line, so to speak. That's true. It's in our DNA. Can you recommend my first self-help book to read? If I was gonna recommend you only one self-help book, I'm gonna recommend two. So one is actually, if I could only recommend one, if you were like, Tony, just give me like the meat and potatoes, just one, I would probably recommend The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. So luckily I'm recording this. The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. So in that book, and if somebody can send me a DM with this, I'd appreciate it. So I'll make a video about it tomorrow or the day after. So in that book, Jack, for those of you who don't know who he is, he wrote the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. He used the Silva method of meditation. I was going to show you the book. He used this book. This would be the second book that I would recommend. So he used this book. He meditated and he wanted to write a book, but he wanted like a killer title. And so he asked, for his deeper state of consciousness, he said, what should I call this book? And he saw a bowl of soup, and he was told, he said, the souls of people are sick. And then he came up with the title, or he had the title, Chicken Soup for the Soul. And so in his book, The Success Principles, I believe it's 63 chapters. And it's like same thing. It's like kindergarten metaphysics, just like A through Z. And he just covers all these areas of your life, like what the law of attraction is, vision boards, how to handle stuff from the past, just, how to make more money. He used to say over 90% of the people who read the book double their income and double their time off within 2 years or less. And the first time I read the book, I doubled my income and my time off. So I would recommend checking it out. It's The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. Do you know who Byron Katie is? I do know who Byron Katie is. She wrote the book The Work. I like Byron Katie. I think she's an awesome woman. So for those of you who don't know who Byron Katie is, she was a woman. She was having a tremendous amount of pain in her life at the time, and she just surrendered. There's something to be said about surrendering and not trying to fight against the current of life. And when she did, she just almost like gave up, so to speak. She was infused with this light, and then suddenly she had this greater awareness of how things are. Let me know if I did her justice in giving that explanation over. It's been 7 years or so since I read her, but I remember her having that experience. I love the way you think. Thank you. I appreciate that. You don't think there is such thing as destiny or luck? Is it all in our hands and mind only? So I believe there's fate and I believe there's destiny. And I'll give you the difference. There's fate, which is if you just don't do anything, you're just going to end up whatever the hell you are. That's fate. There's destiny, that's something greater than us that I think that we can reach for. Luck, I feel like, is created by us based on the images we hold and the thoughts we think. We create our own luck, maybe even our own destiny. So I believe there's something larger that we're supposed to grow into. Just as an acorn is supposed to grow into an oak tree, we are supposed to grow into that. It's just, can we clear out the garbage, so to speak, so that we can achieve that which we're supposed to be. Deteriorating disc. If you have a deteriorating disc, go see my boy, sfgoldman.com. sfgoldman, my boy Dr. Peter Goldman, sfgoldman.com, or you can check for a zone school. He'll have a link on his site to a zone doctor near you that can help you. When visualization, do I need to be specific? So when visualizing, it depends if you know the end result. Like, let's say I want an award from my job, or I did want an award for my job. I won one using visualization. So there would be a board at the place that I used to work with the top salespeople, and I would just visualize myself as number one on the board. And I would see it and feel it, and I would ask myself, what would it feel like if I was number one on the board? And I'd close my eyes and I'd get into that feeling tone. Or sometimes I would be driving, so I wouldn't close my eyes. I would just get into the feeling tone of it. And I did this for a short period of time, and I ended up becoming number one in sales. So if you know the specifics of it, then do it that way. If you don't, let's say, for example, you want to be in a new relationship, but you don't know who the other person is, you could just get into the feeling tone of, let's say I was with the love of my life. What would it feel like to be holding him or her? Or you could show yourself with something specific, such as you could be wearing a wedding ring and taking it off and putting it on the dresser, feeling filled with gratitude to get into bed with this person that you love. So that's one way to do things. How often? So let me know if that answers your questions. If you're Esther Hicks, the famous metaphysical teacher, she said, if you're getting really specific about something and it's starting to make you worried, she said, then pull it back and go more general. She said, if you're going really general about something, but it's not making you enthusiastic, you're getting bored with it, she said, then go more specific. So just know how to work the scale so that you're always putting yourself in an optimum state. Thank you. I really appreciate that. You're welcome. How often do I go live? I have no idea. So when I go live, I tend to talk for like a long period of time. And then sometimes between going live, working, coaching, helping the people in my life, working out like a maniac, sometimes I'll burn myself out and then I'll have to take a break from going live for a bit. This is my favorite thing, is just talking like this. I like making videos. Like, I enjoy it because it's fun and I like seeing all the likes and follows and it changing people. But I like this style of just dialoguing and answering questions. It's the easiest for me. I probably need to go on like Twitch or something like that and do more of this. Okay. And by the way, if you don't follow me, please do, because this is the kind of stuff I post videos about pretty much every day. Okay, let me see. Hi, any help for getting to sleep? Thanks. Yes. I have a number of things that you can do. First one is if you go on YouTube and type in Tony Namey, Fall Asleep Fast. By the way, on my YouTube channel, there's a playlist called Meditations and Hypnosis, I think, or just Meditations. And it's got over 20 meditation and hypnosis tracks for everything. For getting sober, stop smoking, past life regression, curing depression, whatever it is that if you want to overcome the fear of public speaking, whatever it is that's your issue, I have some type of meditation for it. That's one. And then on my YouTube channel, I also have an affirmation playlist where it's just affirmations for different areas of your life. But the reason I mention that is I would, you type in Tony Namey, fall asleep fast, and I have a hypnosis track. In the hypnosis track is a theta sound in the background. So as I'm talking really slow and rhythmic, calming you down. There's this theta track playing to take your brain waves from beta, this awake state of consciousness, past alpha, which is a state that takes place when you're in deep meditation, into theta, which is what takes place when you dream at night. So it's a great meditation track. A lot of people tell me that they use that or just my other tracks that I have on there to fall asleep. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing you can do is you can lay in bed, take a few deep breaths to calm your body down, count down from 10 to 1 or 20 to 1 in a slow rhythmic voice to relax your mind. And then tell yourself, I'm going to sleep now. I'm going to sleep now. I'm going to sleep. And as you do that, as you start to beat that idea into your head, eventually it'll reach your subconscious and you'll fall asleep. That's 2. And then 3, obviously do anything physically you can do. Turn off the lights, have some chamomile tea before you go to bed. And then between all those, you should fall asleep. So, and make sure to get sunlight, every day during the day so that your circadian rhythms will be healthy. Well, a very good friend of my father's, I've known her since I was little. I don't know if that was meant for me, that comment. Good job. Thank you. Byron Katie's a friend. Oh, that's pretty cool. How can I watch this later if I have to go to sleep? Is that possible? Yes. I'll post it on YouTube either today or tomorrow so that you can have it. It's probably going to be tomorrow just because it's 3:30 in the morning. I love your spirit. I miss people in my life. Well, I am in your life and I love you too. And thank you. And thank you for being here. I wish you nothing but happiness. You, sir, are a great person. Keep it up. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate the positive feedback, especially like we've been in like COVID, so to speak. So I've been seeing the same people nonstop. So it's good to hear from other people. My friends want to pray for me, but I keep putting it off. Can you advise why I should or shouldn't do it? You don't have to be there for you. You don't have to physically be there with them for you to receive prayer. First, they shouldn't see you as somebody who needs prayer. If they do, then they're not seeing you as the spiritual essence of God. Now they're seeing you as something less than that. And so they're doing you a disservice. They're creating what I call blasphemy. It's essentially spiritual blasphemy because they're not seeing you as who you are. That's 1. 2, if they really understand their stuff, you don't need to be there for them to pray for you. They can pray on their own and the vibrations will affect you. And then 3, you don't need to do anything that you don't want to do. If it feels like an obligation or a chore or something you're afraid of, just tell them to do that on their own if that's what they want to do. So I never enforce prayer on anyone. I'll ask them if they're going through some type of stressful situation. I'll say, hey, do you want prayer? And either they'll say yes and I'll pray with them then, or they'll say, hey, can you just do it on your own? And I'll be like, yeah. And either way, they're going to get the benefit of it. So much information at one time, overwhelmed but feeling so positive. Thank you. This went way longer, and I mean that in a good way than I thought, so I'm glad. What's up, Tony? Yo, what's up? Manifestation Alchemy, good to see you. Oh, through the hard times we have had, but you can't help yourself to help others. We all want to connect, however, we all want others not. We do all want to connect. People have an intrinsic desire to connect with others, irrespective of what they say. The hardest thing to comprehend is that the passion evolution you have gone through is up to them. Let me know what you mean by that. Okay, thank you, darling. Oh, you're welcome. Greetings from Phoenix. Hi, Phoenix. I was thinking about going. I'm contemplating going to Phoenix this weekend. So a bunch of my friends are going to be there. Hey, glad to be here. Nothing is by chance. Absolutely. We're here. Esther Hicks says that this meeting gathered vibrationally long before our bodies got here. So I'm glad everybody's here. Religion is man-made idea. I sometimes think yes, and I sometimes think no about that, because some of it that comes through is real spiritual and uplifts and transforms people's lives. It just depends on what level of understanding they have for it. You're a beautiful, positive soul. Thank you. And what you see in me is what's within you. You're welcome, dear. What do you think of Edgar Casey's work? Oh, I really like you. Thank you. I like you too. I'm in Tucson, Arizona. Hello. I like Edgar Casey's work. I spoke about him earlier. Let me know if you heard that talk so I don't repeat it. But I think Edgar Casey is amazing. He's probably the greatest psychic to ever live. For those of you who don't know who he is, he was super specific when giving his diagnosis or his psychic readings. He wasn't just saying some general stuff that could apply to anybody. So I thought he was great for that reason. He also has it's a little booklet or pamphlet called Auras. And I used to use it to like see what's going on with people. So I really like that. Let me see. Some questions came in that I was responding to. And I love Esther Hicks as well. You wrote, I love Esther Hicks. I think she's amazing, and I think she does a fantastic job. She's had one of the clearest, consistent messages of anybody that I've ever seen. She's been saying the same thing, over and over again for 30, I don't know how long she's been saying it. There's cassette tapes that I've listened to of her. So I think she does a fantastic job. And if any of you listen to her and you're in a positive state, you'll get a lot from her work. And I spoke earlier about it. There's basically two main premises to her work. One is that a belief is just a thought that you've thought. I think I love you. I love you too. Thank you. I'll see who you are later. So she spoke about, I love you and good night. She spoke about how a belief is just a thought you've thought over and over and over again. So she said the main premise of all of her teachings is just that. A belief is just a thought you've thought over and over and over again. And I spoke about this earlier. Why is this important? Because the only thing that's getting in the way of your manifestations is a belief. And what is a belief? It's a thought you've thought over and over and over again. So what can you do? Just start thinking a new thought independent of your circumstances. Even if your circumstances don't currently reflect it, start thinking this new thought and things will start to shift for you. And then that thought you're thinking will become part of your belief system and it'll start to attract to you, subconsciously for the rest of your life. People think that your present reality is reality, but what it is it's past thought forms that have coalesced to create this past reality. It's almost like you're living in the past. So take your eyes off it. Imagine what it is you want, see and feel into that, and make the invisible become visible. I think you're gifted. Thank you. I don't know if it's a gift or if it's just hard work, just learning and reading and meditating and doing the work and seeing what's coming up for me over and over and over again. And so now I've developed an ability to translate this to you guys. I try to take this spiritual stuff and give you the meat and potatoes of it, so to speak, so that, I want it to be practical and change your life. Like a lot of people get lost in non-duality and oneness and all this stuff. And it's good to know it, but like, is it making you happier, healthier, and wealthier? If it's not, is it serving its purpose then? I want your life to be good. I want you to improve. And so for those reasons, I try to take this stuff and give you methods that actually work. I'm an overthinker and can visualize money. Well, that's great. If you can visualize money, that's fantastic. And then as for the overthinking, when that starts to occur, just pull back. See what your emotional guidance system is telling you. Like, does this feel good to be doing this? If it doesn't, start focusing your thoughts on what feels good and move towards something else. You're a hard worker and selfless for passing so much info. Oh, hey, thank you. So I appreciate that. If each one of you just takes something from tonight, some like gold nugget, and plants that into your life like a spiritual seed and your life transforms, to me, that would be like the ultimate blessing. That would be so cool. I would be ecstatic and through the roof. So, hey, good morning. Good to see you. And thank you. So let me know if any of you have any questions, because I want to be of service to you. And I hope that you've gotten something from this. Yes, beast. I want to be on beast mode. And I'll probably talk for like another 15 or 20 minutes, and then I'll conclude the live, because I think it's been like 2.5 hours or something I've been talking. And if there are no questions, let me know if there's anything you want me to talk about, or if you want me to freestyle. Gold nugget planted. Awesome. Good. You have within you, there's I say, you have within you everything you need to succeed. Like if you all could see yourselves the way I see you, you would be all enthusiastic about your life. You'd be enthusiastic about who you are. Like this isn't some act. Like when I see people, I know that within them there's this potential that if they call it forth, it'll transform their lives. It's just about you getting whatever's in the way of it out of the way and calling it forth. But you call it forth through the images you have and the thoughts you think. And then what's in the way of it are these false premises that you received usually early on in your childhood that for the most part usually have no basis in reality. Okay. What's the law of attraction? And by the way, the person who asked me that they wake up sad, I'll get to that in a second. So the law of attraction basically says that like attracts like. Birds of a feather flock together. As so shall you reap. So basically, at whatever you're putting out into the universe is what you're getting back. So if you're putting out thoughts of love and joy and peace and harmony, you're going to attract love, joy, peace, and harmony. Now, the way it works is if you go more scientific, the theory is that within your brain cells, you have billions of brain cells. Within those brain cells are God knows how many electrons. And every time you think a thought, it causes a vibration by your brain cells vibrating. And those electrons go and land on people who bring to you what it is you want. People who are in resonance with what it is you want. So the only mistake not the only mistake, a mistake a lot of people make is they don't hold a thought long enough so that those brain cells will start to vibrate strongly enough so that they actually have an impact on people and it will attract to them what it is that they want. They'll think one thought 1 second and another thought another second. And often what they think in their first thought, like, I want a new relationship. And they'll counteract it with something negative. They'll say, oh, but you haven't met anybody in so long. So they bring something up and then they take away from their good a moment later. So focus on what it is you want, feel into it, and expect it to happen. And you can create the life that you want via the law of attraction, or in reality, the law of vibration. So that's like my 1 minute quick, intro to it. But it's the most powerful law in the universe because everything comes to you by way of the law of attraction. I miss people like you. I learned so much in Santa Fe. You would love people there. Awesome. If you like I would recommend it. You can get my book if you want more of like my type of energy. And then, I would recommend checking out Esther Hicks. Just people like me, spend some time studying this kind of stuff every day so that you'll be more immersed in this type of energy, so that it becomes a lifestyle. And then there was something else I wanted to say about the law of attraction. And then basically, in addition to being aware of how you feel when you're thinking thoughts, be aware of how long you're holding thoughts for. I say spend a minute or two thinking, holding on to an image of what it is you want so that that vibration becomes strong enough. And also, it takes on average 34 seconds, 33 and a third seconds for an idea to go from your conscious mind into your subconscious. Your subconscious controls your beliefs, your habits, and your bodily functions. So spend a minute or two focusing on what it is you want. So you're essentially changing your internal programming. Over 90% of what you do is subconscious. You put your pants on the same way every day. You go to work the same way every day. So you want to impress upon it what it is you want, so it'll go to work to create what you want in your life. Now, somebody said, I wake up sad. Can you help? Yes. First, before you go to sleep the night before, you want to pre-pave your day. Esther Hicks calls us getting ready to be ready. So, or this might apply to it. But either way, let me get to the technique. Before you go to sleep the night before, I want you to look around in your immediate environment and look for things that you can be grateful for. Like, I have a warm bed, a roof over my head, just small things. It doesn't have to be anything major. I have a blanket. I'm feeling comfortable in my bed. I'm going to get a good night's rest. So you're starting to put this into your subconscious. I would also take it one step further and give myself subconscious commands. Subconscious, tonight while I sleep, I'm going to have peaceful, uplifting, healthy dreams. I will wake up energized and refreshed. So I'm telling my subconscious what to do. Then when I wake up in the morning, so one, you're already put forth some good energy. You've told your subconscious what to do. And then when you wake up, instead of feeling sad, for you to feel sad, you have to be focusing on something negative, unless your subconscious already has some stuff that's repressed that it's bringing forth. When you wake up, instead of feeling sad, look for things in your immediate surroundings to be grateful for. Like, I'm grateful to be awake. I'm grateful that I'm healthy. I'm grateful for this blanket that kept me warm the whole night. I'm grateful to be refreshed. Spend a few minutes in gratitude before starting your day. And then I would start with some type of morning program. For instance, I like Tony Robbins. If you type in Tony Robbins morning ritual, unfortunately, the people who have it online have ads in it now, which sucks. But he has a whole morning ritual where you get your body moving, you do a lot of breathing exercises, you focus on gratitude, you visualize what it is you want. Or you can type in Tony Namey, that's me, morning ritual or gratitude meditation, and start with something like that. So you're right away putting yourself on a positive slant. And then after you get up and go to the restroom, you can spend 15 minutes just writing out what you're grateful for. And you'll start to condition yourself to stop feeling sad and to start feeling gratitude, to start feeling joy, to start feeling enthusiastic about what it is you want from life. So a lot of this is just how have you been conditioning yourself day after day. So start to condition yourself in a positive format. Let me know if that answers your question. Thank you for your answer. Just regardless, visualization in my life seems to have different plans. Sometimes that happens. You want to zig and life wants you to zag, and that's okay. The main thing is you're attracting according to your vibration. So how do you feel as you go through your day? Focus on that. Focus on the feeling tone of what it is you want. Focus on feeling good, and you'll attract more good. By the way, I want to say something about the emotional guidance scale. Sometimes, like, you can be in fear, and then you can go from fear to depression, and you'll have raised yourself in the scale. And then you can go from depression to anger, and you're still improving. And then you go from anger to neutrality, from neutrality to patience, from patience to love, from love to joy, or love, joy, all that is in the same frequency. But the point I want to make is when I first learned this, I was told negative emotions are bad. So I used to struggle with depression, and I would use anger to get myself out of depression and get myself moving and making money and get in shape and do all this stuff. So when I was told anger is bad, then when I would get angry, I would tell myself like, oh, you shouldn't be angry. And it would cause me to go back to depression. So just be aware of how you're using your emotions and move yourself up the scale until you get to where it is you want. Sometimes it's too hard to jump from fear or depression all the way to joy. So just make it gradual. Go from fear to depression to anger to neutrality to peace to love. Just gradually, and then you'll get yourself there. Or just take yourself totally off of whatever is making yourself depressed. Stop focusing on it and go focus on something that makes you feel good. Go for a walk. Go pet your cat. Go do something totally different to shift your state of mind and to get your body moving. How to get false premises out of the way. I covered this so I'm just going to recommend the exercise because I already spoke about it a couple times. Just type in Tony Namey limiting beliefs on YouTube, and I'll give you a quick exercise that'll knock those false beliefs out. It'll take 10 minutes or so, and you can knock them out. Tony Namey limiting beliefs. It'll be called Tony Namey how to overcome limiting beliefs fast. So it's amazing. Can you say that one more time, please, about the electrons when you think? Yes. So the theory is because obviously I can't prove this, but this is what I've been told or taught. You have millions or billions of brain cells. Within those brain cells are electrons. When you think a thought, electrons start vibrating, and those electrons land on people who are in resonance with them that bring to you what it is you want. So you want to focus on love, joy, peace, harmony. By the way, you can try this out. Start with something small that you want to manifest and focus on it and see how it comes to you. It might come to you by way of, some way that you didn't consciously think it was going to arrive. For instance, when I first heard about the law of attraction, I read about it in Jack Canfield's book, The Success Principle. And so I said, I'll start with something small. So I was living at my mom's house at the time. So I started visualizing that somebody brought me a turkey, bacon, and avocado sandwich. So it was a turkey, bacon, and avocado sandwich. And I took a nap. I just got done working out and I took a small nap. I wake up because my friend had showed up unexpectedly at my house. And he showed up. What did he show up with? With a turkey, avocado, and bacon sandwich. He said he was driving and suddenly he had this urge to stop and go to Subway and get us sandwiches, and he came over. And in addition to that, to make the story even weirder, and it's going to sound like total BS, but this happened. My mom goes, why did he bring you sandwiches? She said, I was making you food. What was she making? A turkey, bacon, and avocado sandwich for me. So people think that they're doing things of their own volition. But when you think thoughts, of what it is you want, these vibrations will hit them and affect them and cause them to take actions based upon what it is that you're thinking. So be clear on what it is you want because it's having an effect on the people around you. Thank you. I needed to hear it. Esther, I love her. Yes, I love her too. I think she's amazing. I was so much pain before I spoke to you and you already helped me. I visualized healing. Awesome. I'm glad. I recommended this to some other people. I might have recommended it to you too. If you're having health issues, type in Tony Namey, Get Healthy Now, or Tony Namey, Heal Your Body. Those two different meditations. So Tony Namey, Get Healthy Now, Tony Namey, Heal Your Body, or you can type in Tony Namey, Perfect Health Concept. That's a daily affirmation track to install new positive ideas. But I would do the other meditations, Tony Namey, Heal Your Body, because we really go in depth. It's a hypnosis track or a guided meditation. We go really deep to get some really good healing results for you. And then let me see. A coworker keeps attacking me, passive aggressive, then apologize, so I can't complain, so I just stay quiet. So let's change that. So you have a coworker that's attacking you passively aggressive. So here's what I would do. I would do two things. So first, I would write out my relationship with my coworkers, and I'd get clear on how I want it to be. It's peaceful, it's harmonious, it's loving, it's joyful, it's uplifting. really run wild with it, as if you're making a wish list to God. Your coworkers are great. It's an amazing environment to work in, and so on. And then write out for this specific person 10 things I like about this person. If you don't have 10 things, just list 1 or 2. And every day read your list of how you want things to be with your coworkers, then your list of how you want things to be with this coworker, and then go about your day. But really feel it. Imagine that, really get in the feeling tone of what you're grateful for, what you like about this coworker. So again, I mentioned earlier that people think they're doing things of their own volition. This energy is going to affect your coworker, and either one of 2 things are going to happen. Either your coworker is going to zig while you zag, so you guys won't match up with each other. If he or she's trying to be passive aggressive, he or she won't be a vibration for what you're putting forth. Or your coworker is going to become that list that you're putting forth, or your coworker is going to be replaced by somebody much more positive, and that person won't even be on the radar anymore. So either way, it's a win-win for you. So try that out. So 10 things I like about my coworker, how you want your relationship to be, and watch things change. A number of years back, this took place over 10 years ago, my father had been in prison for 16 years. So he had been on the run for 2 years prior to that, and then he was in prison for 16 years. So I hadn't seen him or spent quality time with him in 18 years. And when he got out of prison, I was living with him, and every day we would be about to fight. I had grown up pretty much on my own. He wants me to be a certain way. I obviously didn't want to be that way. Plus, I had all this repressed stuff towards him. So every day it was like we were going to get into a fist fight. And every day it kept heading more and more in that direction. And one day I realized, I said, Tony, what are you doing? Take your eyes off the physical. I said, work with the energy. So all I did was I grabbed pen and paper and I wrote out 10 things I like about my dad. And I think I listed like 2 or 3 of them. I said, 1, he was super buff. The guy had been in prison forever and just lifting weights, and he was freakishly strong. And I said, 2, he speaks his mind. He doesn't hold back. He's an authentic person. I really admire that about him. And then I said, 3, he can make money. The guy, if you place him anywhere, you give him a couple $100, he'll turn it into millions. The guy just has like a green thumb. He just gets to work, and whatever he says he's going to do, he does. So I started listing this stuff out and getting into the feeling tone of it. And I started feeling, admiration for these positive qualities that he exhibits. And I remember he came home from work that day, and he walked in and he's like, "Hey, what's up, son?" in this super good mood. And that simple exercise changed the whole trajectory of our relationship, and it's been better ever since. And now people will say, oh, that's just a coincidence, people who don't understand this stuff. But work with the energy. Take your eyes off the physical and start to work with the mental, with the spiritual, and you'll have an effect on that person. That energy you're putting forth will affect your coworker, and things will shift for you. So that's a great secret. If you have kids, if you have coworkers, if you have anybody that you want to enhance the relationship with or heal the relationship with, try that out. It works. Either the person will leave totally, or they'll become that which you're putting forth for them. I will try. Thank you for those ideas. You are welcome. All right, let me see what's coming in. Thank you so much for that. You're welcome. Hi, I hit rock bottom. I decided I'm going to improve every area of my life. Any suggestions? Absolutely. I have a number of suggestions for you. So, first thing, every day when you wake up, affirm. 20 times in the morning, 20 times at night, every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. So every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. That's 1. Your subconscious knows how to make you better every day and in every way. So start to affirm what it is you want. Let it get to work to make that so for you. That's 1. So say that affirmation 20 times in the morning, 20 times at night. Every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. Second, I want you to do the exercise. I don't know if you were on with me and Praise George earlier when we were talking. I want you to take yourself to a really nice area. I did this for myself when I had hit rock bottom, so to speak, when things weren't working right. I want you to take yourself to a real affluent area. It could be, for instance, if you're in LA, you take yourself to Beverly Hills. If you're in New York, you take yourself to Manhattan. And I want you to go to this affluent area. And I want you to really just feel the affluence of it, the money, the prosperity. And I want you to write in the present tense how you want your life to be. I am rich, I'm prosperous, I'm healthy, I'm doing X, Y, Z. Write it out in the present tense. And then every day, I want you to read what it is you wrote out. And I want you to feel that affluence of that abundant area. And what you're going to do is through repetition and emotion, you're going to drive this new idea of how your life is into your subconscious, And your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's false. Whatever you show it, it takes as fact, as gospel, and it's going to get to work to make that a reality for you. So that's 1 and 2. 3, I would recommend getting the book, The Success Principles. Learn how to develop a new lifestyle of health and of prosperity and abundance so that, your life works, so that you'll start thinking new thoughts and taking new actions and getting new results. And then 4, I want you to get on some type of wellness plan. So either, start going to a new church or if you can, get a mentor. All of you, if you don't have a mentor, get one, because you'll get exponential results. The reason being is your mentor is already where you need to be. And so he can see the pitfalls, the obstacles, all that stuff that's in the way of you getting to where it is you want, and help you navigate around them so that you get to where you want faster. Also, through the law of vibration, your people communicate conscious to conscious mind. I tell you ideas, you tell me stuff. That's conscious to conscious communication. We communicate through our words, through our speech, through our actions. But there's also subconscious to subconscious communication. When you're in the presence of your mentor, all that stuff that he or she knows is going to be being vibrated to you, and you're going to grow and get rapid results as a result, just through the law of vibration of being around that person. So I would get a mentor who's already doing what it is you want to do. If you're not sure what it is you want to do, then I recommend getting clear on what it is you want to do and getting clear on it fast so that you get away from rock bottom. So that's the first 4. I would also recommend that you get on some type of wellness program. Either get with a church, go to a yoga center, do something that at least a few times a week is getting you out of the energy of your current environment and putting you into a healthy, positive state that's conditioning you for success. And then lastly, what are you doing for income? This is just the practical stuff. Where are you working? Do you have a job? What are you doing to support yourself? And then I would strive to do the best job that I can as you essentially work to get promoted, so that you go from rock bottom, from surviving to stability, and then you go from stability to thriving. Let me know if that helps. I was 100% meant to see you this morning, so grateful for you. Thank you, and I'm glad you're here. That's a wonderful story about your dad. Thank you. And he's doing great. The guy's doing fantastic. So you attract successful people and yet needy people reach out to you. How is that possible to do both? Everybody just is. You're seeing them as successful and needy. I'm seeing them as they just are. I just see them as the potential of God, and I'm trying to call that forth. And so I don't judge them based on where they are financially or emotionally. I just see them as like the spirit of God, of spirit of good, and I want to bring that forth. So I'm just there to help anybody who is the right fit for me. So let me know if that makes sense. Bless you, Tony. I'll be watching your YouTube video. I have to go for now. Oh, good night. Cool. And thank you for being here with me. It was good talking to you. I feel that with you. Okay, cool. So it's almost 4 a.m. If anybody has a question, ask me now, as I'll probably be concluding in the next 5 minutes. And then if nobody has any questions, if you want me to pray us out, I'll pray us out. If you don't, I'll just conclude this session. Or if you have anything you want to ask me, let me know. Because it's time for me to eat. It's probably time for half of you to sleep, including myself. It's 4 o'clock in the morning here. Thank you. Amazing advice. I can feel your energy. Thank you. When I start talking about all this stuff, when you're talking about things that are of a positive nature, it makes you enthused. It has a positive effect upon you and upon the people you're talking to. Why do men push away? Men don't push away. If men are pushing away from you, ask yourself, what is your belief about men that's causing them to be repelled to you? Because men oftentimes aren't pushing away. They go towards what it is that they want. So ask yourself, what is my belief about men? And then start to affirm something new. Men are irresistibly attracted to me. Men come to me. The right man pulls me to him. And start to affirm that over and over until it shifts and people come to you. Affirmation for weight loss. I weigh the perfect weight for me. I feel strong and alive at 125 or whatever the weight is. That's 1 and 2. I like to make little jingles like that, because it's easy for you to memorize and get into your subconscious. This, even more important than the affirmations, I would cut out a picture of my ideal body. You can even put your face on it if you like. I would cut out a picture of my ideal body, and I would spend a minute or two visualizing it every day as if I had that body. The reason being, again, your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's false. So if you start showing it this new fit body, it's going to say, oh, this is me now. And it'll start to look for ways to make this a reality. So that's 3. So cut out a picture of your ideal body. And then lastly, I would type in Tony Namey. Best shape of your life. Remember I told you guys earlier I have meditations for everything. Tony Namey, best shape of your life. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put you in a relaxed state of consciousness. I'm going to bring up your current image of what you look like, your current body. And then we're going to erase it. And then we're going to put in what you want yourself to look like, what size clothes you want to wear, and then we'll reinforce that new image. I'll show 2 tables, one with the foods that you need to stay away from, and we'll put a big red X over those so your subconscious knows, keep those away from me. And then I'll show you, we'll put a table of all the foods and drinks that you should be having. We'll put a big green check mark there so your subconscious responds to visuals. So we're going to visualize things like that, and then I'll put in a series of positive affirmations for you in regards to health, and then I'll send you on your way. So it's Tony Namey, best shape of your life. It's on YouTube. Pray us out. All right, you got it. How can I will when it's time to. Thank you. How can you be around with both energy, bad and good? So here's a secret. It comes from actually I got this from Napoleon Hills. I should have mentioned this earlier, from Think and Go Rich. So he said, within every negative event is the seed of an equal or greater benefit. So if you're around the good, feel grateful for it. As you feel grateful for it, you're going to attract more good. You can also ask yourself empowering questions such as, how does it get better than this? When you ask yourself a question like that, your subconscious will go to work to answer it and will create more good for you. And that's 1. 2, when something seeming negative happens, don't get wrapped up in that. Within every negative event is the seed of an equal or greater benefit. That's from Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. But it's also the law of polarity. However negative something is, that's how much potential for good is there. We've all had experiences that seem to be the worst thing that could happen to us, but turned out to be the best thing that happened to us. And that's because of the law of polarity. So when something bad happens, ask yourself, what is the good in this? What good can come of this? Napoleon Hill, he had his son, excuse me, I've been talking for a moment. His son was born, one of them, without ears. And so when his son was born, his wife was freaking out. The child's born without ears. And Napoleon Hill, the first thing he thought to himself is, what is the benefit in this? Nature never provides something negative without there being an equal or greater benefit. And what ended up happening was his son ended up being able to hear with hearing aids, through the use of hearing aids. And he was somebody who went around the United States promoting hearing aids. And now, we all know what hearing aids are, and his son made a huge fortune off of it. So that seemingly huge negative event became one of the most positive things in his life for him. So ask yourself, what is the benefit of this? And you'll find it. By looking for it, you'll find it. Just don't get wrapped up in the negativity of what's taking place at the moment. Within every negative event is the seed of an equal or greater benefit. Saludos desde Peru. Thanks for your advice. You're welcome, my friend. 4 a.m. I know. Tony, I'm so grateful that I found you this morning. I'm grateful to be here, and I'm glad you did too. It's noon time in the UK. Hello. Awesome. Thanks. Okay. Good morning. So, okay. It's time for me to eat. So, if you guys like, I'll pray us all out. If you want me to just conclude the live. Thank you, by the way, for all of you being here. There's 60 of you here. So, that's why I'm so pumped up. It's like I'm talking to a classroom of people, of like-minded individuals. So, it is, it's been a blessing for me. So, if you want, I'll do a quick prayer and pray us out. If not, then I will. Okay, cool. I'll do the prayer. And then, did you guys all get something from this? Great start to my morning. Awesome. Cool. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay. So, if you can, as long as what did I stumble into? You stumbled on to a talk about metaphysics and self-improvement for the last 3 hours. Thank you. So glad I found you. I'm glad you found me too. And thank you. I'm too late. Not at all. I'll put this up on YouTube and you can watch it tomorrow. So, okay. So if you're not driving, as long as you're not doing anything that takes your concentration, go ahead and close your eyes now and just take an easy, gentle breath. And take another deep, cleansing breath, just letting go of anything that came before this moment. And take one more deep, cleansing breath, breathing in the breath of God now. And I begin all prayers with gratitude to anchor in the right feeling, tone, and vibration. So I am grateful. I am grateful for all of the people here that showed up. I'm grateful for this unexpected blessing of good that has been this live session today. I'm grateful for all of these people coming together. I'm grateful for Praise George, for all the wisdom that was shared, just for the perfect synchronicity in which this live event unfolded today. And from this place of gratitude, I recognize that God is all that there is, that there's only one power, one presence, one activity taking place, and it is the Spirit of God, that Spirit of infinite good. And right where I am one with God. I am one with good. I am one with God's peace and harmony. That divine peace that is not based on any precedent, that is not based on anything, that peace that passes all human understanding. I am one with God's harmony, all things working together for good. I am one with the love of God, the abundance of God, the success of God. All that God is, I am now. And as I know this to be the absolute truth of me, I know this to be the truth of everybody on this lives being right where they are. The Spirit of God is in its total fullness and luminosity now. I claim and call forth for all people, whether they're beginning their day or their day is ending. I claim and call forth peace and harmony. All difficulties, all stress, all tension, resolved, dissolved, absolved. Tossed back into the nothingness from which it came, never to return. I claim and call forth for everybody on this live such abundance that all their wants, their needs, their desires, and goals are met by God's infinite supply. Everything that they touch from this moment forward is blessed and prospered by God. The success of God flows through them. They cannot fail. They have the Midas touch. They go from one good thing to the next. I claim and call forth such love flowing through this people that they live, move, and have their being in God, that they are surrounded, enmeshed, immersed in this spirit of divine love. Everywhere they go, they bring it. Everywhere they go, they meet it. There is just one thing flowing forth through them, through their relationships, through their body, and it is the love of God. I claim and call forth such love that everything is made new in their lives. It's as if today is a new beginning. It's a new chapter of greater opulence, of greater affluence, of greater love, of greater joy, of greater peace and harmony than anything they've ever experienced, realized, or imagined before. Today is a new starting point, a new foundation built of good that allows them to spring forth in a life higher than they have ever gone before. It starts right here and right now. So I give thanks that as they go forward, the Spirit of God goes forward ahead of them, creating greater opportunities, greater joy, greater avenues for love and expression than they have ever known before. I give thanks that as they go forward, they are successful in all that they think, say, and do, that God's hand is upon them, guiding them to that which is right, that which prospers them in every way, shape, and form. I give thanks that as they go forward, life is easy for them now. There is peace and harmony. There's an abounding sense that all is well because they are source-fueled and funded by this infinite presence that is God. And I simply release this prayer. I take my hand off it. I allow it to be knowing it does not return empty nor void, but is answered in better, brighter ways than anything I could have said. Right where they are, right where you are, God is now. So I allow it to be, knowing it is answered divinely, lovingly, perfectly, harmoniously now. And I say, and so it is. Amen. So, I'll give you a second if you need a second. So, thank you, everybody. I see some messages came up. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. Somebody just sent me an invitation to go live. I pray for everyone too. Love that prayer. Awesome. That was awesome. Thank you, everybody. So we've put something forward into the atmosphere. We've got 50-something people here coming together in an atmosphere of peace, harmony, and love. Thank you. So things are going to shift. Things are going to be uplifted for you. So stay in the energy of this prayer. Allow yourself to receive your blessings. It's the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom, so it's yours now. My YouTube channel is just my name, Tony Namey. Marry me. It's possible. It's possible. Have a good day. So thank you. Thank you, everybody, again. And then, yeah, if you don't follow me, please do. I want to see you grow. I want to see you improve. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to my channel too, because I go more in depth than what I post on TikTok, obviously, since I'm limited by the 1 minute time constraint. Yeah, and then it's time for me to eat and rest. Be blessed. Thank you, everybody. I love you all.